playoff win. He's got one.
We're live.
Sincerely.
Let's go ahead and welcome our guests.
All right, everybody, welcome to the third annual 97.3 ESPN Sports Bash Draft War Room. We appreciate everybody watching that was at Tailgaters today. We're getting ready for the draft for the next X amount of hours. Josh Henning, our draft participant, Zach Barledge, his third year in the draft war room. We're about ready to enjoy the draft. Your comments, you can send us tweets at 97.3 ESPN, at Mike Gill Show. We will interact throughout the night and have a good time on one of our favorite nights of the year. Now, full disclosure, we got a Cowboy fan in the room.
This is true.
So we are about to have a Cowboy-Eagle argument.
And we have a lukewarm Eagles fan here in the room as well.
What exactly does that mean, lukewarm Eagles fan?
You're my second team.
Oh, you can't have two teams.
I was born in Philly, so
I got you.
I get a default team.
That doesn't make any sense. You were born in Philly, and yet they're your second team. See that? His opinion has already been shattered.
I'm from around here. I'm a Dallas fan, so that comes with a grain of salt. But at least I stick with one team and don't have two.
I actually have two teams in every sport.
I did that when I was a kid. I used to have an American League and National League team, and then I turned into an adult. We're still waiting for Josh.
I mean, it doubles your chances of your team winning a title.
Well, when I was growing up, I was obviously my parents did not force me into being a Philadelphia fan. That wasn't like you have to be a Philadelphia fan.
You should be.
To me, it's based on civic pride. You live in an area, you have civic pride in where you live, therefore you cheer for the teams that are in your surrounding area. But it wasn't like my parents made me. But when I was growing up, I was an Eagles fan in the NFC, and I liked the Browns in the AFC.
You can never fault someone for Cleveland. So what was your era when you were a kid, though, with the Browns?
It was the fumble.
So misery still.
Misery, Bertie Kosar, Ernest Biner, The Drive. I can remember watching The Drive as if it was yesterday, watching Elway go down the field on that poor Browns team. So I watched that era of Browns football. As I got to college, I kind of grew out of the two teams. I was a Phillies fan in baseball, and Red Sox was my American League team. I didn't really have an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference basketball. I was always Sixers and Flyers, but the two other sports, I had the American League and the AFC team. But I grew out of that.
You know what's funny? I used to be more of a hardened fan of one team or two teams when I was younger. Now I've gotten older, I'm more of a sports fan.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like with the NBA and stuff, I could easily watch the Blazers and the Clippers that night and have really no horse in that racing and just enjoy it as a fan of.
I like certain players.
Well, with this job, I have drifted away from being such a fan of a particular team, which
it's hard to do.
I think it is hard to do. But I do think it gives me a more objective opinion because, sadly, I watch games sometimes looking for the better story than the win or the loss. Like, what's going to be the better – right, but it's sad because you were such a fan growing up. And, actually, good point here by a tweet we got from Bill. He said, looking at both quarterbacks talk in that interview, he said Wentz looked calm and in control. Goff looked very nervous.
You know what I'm saying at this point, just about a little till 8.
I agree with that comment, though.
Great, but are we getting to the point now where it's paralysis by analysis?
Sure.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean, guys are.
All right, so before the draft starts, I gotta ask both of you: Goff or Wentz?
I like Wentz better than Goff. I'm glad that Wentz will be most likely the guy to Philadelphia. I like Wentz better. Again, I said on the air, neither one of these guys I would have traded up for.
Agree completely. I mean, there's a difference you've been saying for the last couple of weeks, Mike, and where these guys are coming. And if Wentz were to come to you at 8 or 13, where the Eagles originally sat and you drafted him, that's a home run. I mean, I like Wentz a little bit more than Goff. Pro style. He's got a little bit more thicker frame. He kind of made the pro style reads, all that. Yeah, I mean, trading up, that's a whole lot to go after guys that neither of them are slam dunk prospects.
Yeah. By the way, digging in.
Draft Worms, sponsored by Charlie's Bar, Shore Road, Summers Point. I was listening tonight, pick up some their BBTs and their famous wings. Good stuff. So thanks to the guys down at Charlie's for helping us do this tonight.
Yeah.
As always.
They've been on board a couple of years so we can do this. Why do we do it? Because we're nerds.
Yep.
That's why. We love the draft. And don't forget to be back for our NBA Draft War Room on June 23rd.
Will be an interesting one for the home team.
The Sixers will have 14 of the Marcus Hayes said today on the warm-up, I was cracking up. He's like, because he was talking about Bradford and the $11 million, and he was like, that's an expensive draft choice to buy. He's like, the Sixers wouldn't even pay $11 million to get back into the first
or their whole team.
Right.
Well, it's true they don't because they actually are only owe Dario Saric about $1.8 million.
Well, they've been known to like do these trades where they end up buying a guy out, so that they can get the pick, like they did with JaVale McGee, where they basically took on his contract, paid him, he never played, just so they could get the first round pick and
And actually, they did that pre-Hinkie too. Because remember the Danny Granger deal?
That's right.
Yeah, well, they've had a bunch of deals like that.
That's like part
The
of
guy
the
never
system.
set foot on the court.
Never. Actually, he never set foot on the NBA court after that season again.
So right on the dot, 8 o'clock. We should be rolling here soon. And Commissioner Goodell will walk out and tell us that the LA Rams are on the clock.
Now,
So,
Zach, how old are you then?
I will be 26 come January.
All right, so do you remember when the Rams were in LA? Because I do. I'm old enough to remember that.
Not quite.
You act like he's some old man over here. Well, I'm in the room. I'm sitting right here.
Well, because I knew you were older than me. I didn't know how old.
So my first real concrete memories of football as a Dallas fan was the tail end years of Aikman when he was getting concussions and Dallas was kind of tailing off from the Super Bowls. I was never old enough to really remember them as that dynasty. So I've really seen nothing but mediocrity in my lifetime.
Okay.
So that's the honest truth. We've had heartbreak and all that, but that's my late '90s was my.
I grew up watching the Cowboys dominate, but
So did I.
it's been so long I can't remember it actually happening.
Yep.
Well, actually, the first year I remember was Aikman's first year. When was it? 1-15.
19.
Yeah.
That was my first year remembering the Cowboys because as a kid I was obsessed with Barry Sanders. I thought Barry Sanders was God.
Well,
So every time Barry Sanders was on TV, it seemed like every year he was playing the Cowboys once a year.
well. By the way, Josh, you listened to every minute of every show this week. We had unbelievable insight. I thought anyway. You did a great job getting guests on. What was your favorite interview of the week?
This week.
Yeah.
Well, because if I can include the last 2 weeks with John Clayton, when we had Clayton on last Friday, his insights were great. What he said about Howie Roseman could potentially be ahead of the curve, about saying the next 3 years of quarterbacks suck. Basically what Clayton said, Howie Roseman thinks. And that this year is the last year to get a top-level quarterback who can play in the NFL sooner than later. For this week, I would say Lee Steinberg was great. Because what Lee Steinberg had to say about Tom Condon, he said, without trying to, he kept prefacing it by saying, well, Tom Condon's a good agent, but, and then he would go on to say what was wrong with how they're handling it. Because one of the quotes I have on the website, you go to 97.3 ESPN.com, he mentioned, he said, if you want to get traded, you don't go public.
No, it was handled completely wrong by Sam Bradford, no doubt about that.
By the
Is
way,
there any anticipation of a swerve here?
I think the first two are going to go as
The interesting move here is it really starts at number 3 is where the games start being played because I've seen reports and read things to where the Chargers were open to trading back, and one of them I thought was very interesting that would affect number 4 is if the Miami Dolphins at 13, that's the Eagles' original spot, decide to trade up 10 spots to number 3 because they really love Ezekiel Elliott from Ohio State. I think that'd be crazy to trade up that much
that's crazy.
for a running back.
Don't get me wrong, Ezekiel Elliott is the best running back in the draft.
Oh, no doubt. There's no doubt.
And you know what makes him great? Pass block.
Best blocker in the draft. I mean, he's got some height. He's 225 pounds, can run fast. He's explosive. He's everything you want in the back. Which is, again, you look historically in these drafts, you can find running backs 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round that can produce.
How do we add the moderator?
The moderator?
We have live shots at all sorts of places, including
Another question. Do we have a preference here, whether it's ESPN or is it the network that we prefer?
Well, since we are an ESPN station, I think we should have ESPN on. But as a personal preference,
Yeah,
when I started working for ESPN, I like NFL Network better because I'm a Mayock guy.
I love Mike Mayock. Watched his mock live the other night on that channel. It was good. Yeah, for some reason, I just stick with ESPN. They call me nostalgic.
Yeah, I actually like Louis Rig. They've added him. Kuiper, I'm kind of indifferent.
Kuiper's been around so long, he's just kind of part of the scene.
I think Mayock, somewhere along the line, he's got this reputation of being the best, and I kind of don't agree with it.
You know, I don't know if he's the best, but I find that he's one of the most thorough people I've ever seen
You're right.
talking about this stuff. Because he doesn't. One of the problems I like about Kuiper sometimes is that he says stuff, and then he assumes that you know what he's talking about, or he assumes that you know that he's right.
And ever since Frank Caliendo came around, he does those bits with Todd McShay and Mel Kiper. He's almost become a cartoon in a way. I kind of laugh.
I really like Scott Wright. I mean,
He does a great job.
We've
Yeah.
been using him for 10 years as our draft guy, and
What I love about Scott Wright, he's always updating his site. Like, he doesn't kind of like let it go for a couple of days and not try to update it. In fact, for anybody who listens to 97.3 ESPN Sports Bash, Scott Wright has had so much traffic to his website, he's had to update his server.
it shut down today when we had him on the air.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah,
So, you want to know about Scott Wright? That tells you. People go to Scott Wright. Now, I do disagree with Scott Wright, but Scott Wright loves Paxton Lynch.
he thinks Paxton Lynch is.
He's
I
the
don't think.
second best.
Yeah, I think he has him ranked number 2 on his quarterback rankings.
See,
He has Goff, I think. Actually, let me pull up his quarterback ratings and see what he's got here. He has Wentz, Lynch, Goff, Cook, Cardell Jones, Hackenberg.
Cardell Jones. Now let's talk about Cardell Jones. How can a guy? Now I know you said this about Wentz. He's had a limited amount of starts. Talk about limited amount of starts for Cardell Jones. What's he got? 4, 5?
5 or 6.
Go on the clock, by the way.
Yes, LA is 2 minutes into their selection process here, so we are underway. And
Josh, maybe double check to make sure we're on the air since we're all sitting. Yeah.
that'd be good. It looks like I see red on the screen over there. Look, I think
Yeah,
it's
now we
just
are
means-
broadcasting.
No, I'm talking about on the radio.
Oh, that'd be good. So I have a draft guide here from scout named Dane Brugler, who works for CBS Sports, and his top 5 on the quarterbacks go as follows: Goff and Wentz. Paxton Lynch is 3. Now those are the 3 with first round grades. Now he has 1 with a second round grade. That's Connor Cook at number 4, and then his 5th it drops to Christian Hackenberg, who he has a 4th round grade. So I mean, the top 5 for the most part has been a mixture of those 5 guys. But like you said, Scott Wright has Cardell Jones at number 5. That's
5. And he's been on the air saying this for a while that he thinks Jones is going to be the steal.
I don't.
The mid-round guy that, you know. Then he has Hackenberg, Dak Prescott, Jeff Brisket, Jacoby Brisket, Jeff Driscoll, Kevin Hogan, Nate Sudfeld. I know Josh likes Kevin Hogan a lot.
Yeah, he talks about a lot on there. He's sure, you know, the Stanford guy, smart 4-year starter, durable. He's probably a day 3 pick. I mean, he's definitely a good guy to have developmentally. So you're not ready to start right away. Pretty good audio quality.
We're using the new, I'm not an Apple guy, but we're using the new Apple tonight for the first time.
Apple guy tonight.
I go with the Google Chromebook. See this little guy here? These guys go with these boats. We can go floating on those bad boys.
stepping into a situation that is already made for them.
There we go.
I'm back. You start comparing to people in the past. I know we all do it. You got to compare.
Was it on Wi-Fi?
It jumped off the
Yeah.
screen for me. When you look at how Joe played the game in college with the thin lower body, thin upper
3 minutes to go for LA.
Jared just looks the same.
Watch a continuous highlight reel of Jared Goff lighting up in the Pac-12 against Colorado.
Very consistent mechanics.
I'd probably light it up in the Pac-12.
They don't play defense in that conference. This is great.
Read the field and make good decisions. And I think that's just something that's going to serve him well.
They got a receiver from California who's going to be pretty good, I think.
Need some juice, man.
Kenny
Yeah,
Waller.
Kenny Waller.
I think he will bring that.
He visited the Eagles last week.
Yeah, but he probably
Not
will.
bad,
I
but
hope he does it, Boo, because that to me is a recipe for disaster. You know, that Case Keenum, Nick Foles, players like that. You think about a situation there where you have Gurley to lean on, the offensive line still iffy. I'm not putting them out there. I mean, no matter who it is, even if it was Peyton Manning, let's just say, okay, not only are you the new face of a franchise that needs juice.
Man, I can't believe it's taking so long.
These are the Rams.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they're scratching their head over Carson Wentz.
Anybody.
Maybe that room is divided.
He is in a tough spot, whoever he is. However, Jeff Fisher loves him because
I have the Dallas
very quick
Valley Ranch
release.
War Room on right
That's
now.
more than anything else, and he's not concerned that he hasn't played
Let's
really
see what
deep.
Coach gets on the phone to tip off the
He's
pick.
okay there. Yeah, I think that the Rams
Didn't like the
process
writers agree that they weren't going to do that?
going to see
Well,
these quarterbacks.
When you watch the team's war rooms, that's what really gives it away
They had
because
him in mind.
first comes the head coach usually or the GM, owner in this case, and then they hand the phone to the defensive coordinator, secondary coach, quarterback, whatever it is that they're taking usually, and that kind of know what the coaches look like.
Some lumps now, so you know he's been through it, and you know that he's come through.
Figure it out from there.
Can come out the other side. That isn't necessarily what you want a young guy to have to go through, but he has a. When you talk about a body of work, he has a body of work that's really right now is probably going to serve him pretty well with this football team. Well, he's mentally tough. He's physically tough.
Hurry up, LA. 1 minute left. Don't miss your pick. There it is.
He knows his business. And the one thing I loved about Goff when I met with him is he is calm and he is cool. Much like
So I'm going to say they stick with Goff, unless they never were with him in the first place.
Remember, John Clayton on the air the other day said,
there's only one way for the Rams to go.
absolutely they're taking Wentz.
Wow.
And the reason was, he said, Jeff Fisher, go back to Steve McNair, small college, big guy that can move. He believes they're going to take Carson Wentz. That was what John Clayton said on the air Friday on the Sports Bash.
We're about to find out here shortly.
I think I might fall out of the chair because
I mean, you know what? You know what I
respect his
think?
opinion.
Yeah, and you know what I think too? I always go back to like the drama of it all and how these networks and putting on this show, which it is, want some drama. And everyone thinks it's Goff Wentz. And that kind of takes the fun out of the first two picks. So if they do go Wentz here, that shakes things up immediately. What does that leave the Eagles to? How are they going to sell that if they thought Goff was going to be there all along? You never really will know if they're telling the truth.
Very tough. You know,
That's something Howie and
it's not so easy.
Lurie will take to the grave for sure.
And do it, but it's interesting. Jeff Fisher was the coach of the Houston Oilers, who became the Tennessee Oilers, the Tennessee Tuxedos, and then he's been through this before. And here's the pick.
Tennessee.
Here we go. And as usual, the commissioner gets booed.
He'll be on Mike and Mike tomorrow at 9:30.
First pick in the 2016 NFL Draft. The Los Angeles Rams select Jared Goff.
And it's Jared Goff. Which most people were reporting.
But now he's officially.
So it looks like officially Carson Wentz is your quarterback of the future in Philadelphia.
Eagles are on the clock. We'll be done right after this.
But you know what? They wouldn't have drafted him if they didn't think
There it
he
is.
can handle it. There they are, the Rams.
You got to believe they knew this was the pick weeks ago.
Brandon and Oxnard will have their first preseason game. It's our, I don't know if it's like a preseason game, but the first.
So what did you think about the news that the draft is looking like it'll come to Philly next year, although the Eagles do not currently
They were
own
7-9
a first-round
last year.
selection?
Very tough division with
It'd be pretty cool. I'd like to get them. Too bad it's on a Thursday. I mean, I guess it could.
I think the tickets are free.
Doesn't go start till 8, so could probably get up there in time.
He's the 5th Cal
Do a war room from up there.
round.
That'd be nice.
Some, like Steve Bartkowski, went number
There you
1
go.
overall.
First pick is on the board. So Jared Goff is the 5th California quarterback picked in the first round. Bartkowski, Campbell, Kyle Baller,
All good.
Aaron Rodgers, and now Jared Goff.
Goff went number 1. Surprised?
No. But then again, we have a TV in the studio, so it's on the TV while I was fixing the station.
Glad I sent you in there. Let's look.
And so now,
Let's just say I got an education in that.
we're on to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Cool.
So according
Something you
to
probably would
The
like to
second
know.
pick that they have made a trade
Oh,
to the
what's that?
Cleveland Browns
Something
last
like that.
week. Number 2 to
Some
number 8.
Twitter reaction.
In case you weren't keeping score at home.
Goff is going first overall. Congratulations, going to a decent team. You agree? Decent team? Are they a
Solid
quarter?
defense.
Yeah, they have
Their
good defense.
offense-
Gurley?
Gurley is an
No
absolute
wideouts.
star.
The problem they had with Bradford. No wideouts.
Yeah, and who's their best receiver? Tavon Austin?
West Virginia.
Yeah, you'd like that one.
Very disappointed in Tavon. Although
Oh, he had a good year.
to be expected, though. He's small. He's not a number 1. He's like a poor man's Deshaun Jackson.
But he does a little,
It's like the Robinson ball.
and he does a couple things with the ball in his hand.
He doesn't score as many touchdowns. Or to have as many big plays.
Doesn't help when you had some pretty poor quarterback.
But like Tavon would have, I had him on my fantasy team last year as a late pickup, and he would have a game where he had 2 touchdowns, one on the ground, one on the air. So I mean, he does a couple of things, he's just inconsistent. But again, there's not much help for him on that team. I mean, they drafted a guy really high in the second round a few years ago, Brian Quick from App State. He was supposed to be with a big outside receiver, and he's been a complete bust from that point on. They just really don't have any outside weapons, so we'll see. Interesting to see how Jared Goff helps that offense.
So I just read this out. Here's one thing I love about Goff and the Rams. Marketing. You're a new team in LA. You need a name guy. He's a California player. People know who he is.
Met his uncle tonight at our draft party, and he said that Goff wanted to play for the 49ers.
Rob Berkeley, man.
Uncle was at our draft party tonight. Mike Goff, if you're out there. Mike Goff from EHT.
Egg Barber Township.
See what else we got here. The Eagles should just take the whole 10 minutes just to be jerks. Hashtag the Wentz wagon. The Eagles don't have their pick in, like, right now.
Yeah. We have 4 minutes on the clock.
14th time in 19 drafts, the quarterback has gone number 1 overall. I don't know how many of them have ever won a title. One.
John Elway.
Since 1998.
98 ball, Peyton Manning.
That was the last one they just gave out.
Eli.
Yeah, Eli. That's 2.
Eli got 2.
Well, he was technically,
Wade's got 2. Eli's got 2.
yeah, he was technically traded, but he went number 1.
Where he went number 1.
What was that moment like?
It was well worth the wait. Honestly, it's an unbelievable moment. Once in a
So the
lifetime
only quarterbacks who've
experience.
been drafted number 1. 98, they won titles in the last year.
By the way, the Phillies swept the Nationals today. And the last time the Phillies were 2 games over 500, this late in the season, October 1st, 2012.
Yeah.
That's
pretty-
That's
pretty hard to imagine.
9 of the 32 quarterbacks week 1 of last year were number 1 overall picks.
Number 1 overall, not first round. If you go look at the first round, it's got to be mid-20s that have been in the first round.
Yeah.
First or second, and the rest was. I mean, who starts as it? Russell Wilson's a 3rd, Tony Romo's undrafted, Tom Brady's a 6th. They count Nick Foles, who's a 3rd.
What's the question?
What quarterbacks are
Brock
starting?
Osweiler is the second round pick.
I'm saying first or second round. What quarterbacks aren't first or second round?
Reed. Oh,
Reed's
Reed's
second.
Reed's
Russell Wilson.
3rd. Yeah, we said Russell, Romo, and Brady.
Wayne Gabbert was first round pick too. So you gotta throw him in there.
Kaepernick was a 2.
Russell.
Romo, Brady.
Okay, those
Kirk Cousins fourth round pick.
Kirk Cousins 4.
Yeah.
It was the first pick in 4th round. I remember that. It was starting that Saturday.
not first or second round, you're saying.
Yeah, third round or below.
Fitzpatrick.
Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod Taylor. Fitzpatrick was undrafted, but over 7.
Fitzpatrick.
6 or 7.
Brian Fitzpatrick
So we
was
got
the
about
highest
5 or
rated
6
scorer.
that are below.
Trying to name.
I'm just going with the team.
I'm talking about a majority starter, not a guy who played for 5 games because someone. Not a case of team.
Well,
I
either
think
one,
it's-
Keith Cannon or Foles.
The Eagles pick is in, by the way.
In terms of how they
Here we go.
coaching staff, I love Doug Peterson. I know how the guy teaches the quarterback decision. I know the fundamental that he stresses. He comes from Andy Reid's tree. The question
Go ahead and enjoy those wings and targets.
pieces to put around
Charlie
him. I
Lee
think the
Brown,
kid will have a chance, though. He's going to get some quality coaching. They just have to make sure that along with
Yeah, Kevin Mayer on our thing makes a good point. I hate when they take every second, then the league takes another 3 minutes to announce. I mean, how did the Eagles not have this pick already?
Well, technically, now that the pick is in, San Diego
The
is on the
network's saying
clock.
we got more commercials. You got to stretch this out.
So San Diego is going to come on when the timer comes on, and it'll say 7 minutes.
Right.
Thank God. The Eagles shake things up here and take Jalen Ramsey.
That will be great.
That'll be a fun show tomorrow.
I'd be pissed. Actually, yeah, it's funny.
We'll learn to come.
There it goes.
The Philadelphia Eagles select Carson Wentz.
Just as
Alright.
expected. Come on, can we
As
have some
expected.
fun here? And there goes Carson Wentz, your new quarterback for the next decade in Philadelphia. Just write it on the board, boys.
So the state of North Dakota is saying, we just hit a home run for the Bison.
Well, we know one thing with Carson Wentz, he's used to the cold weather,
By the Philadelphia Eagles.
right?
Not many.
What he says, he wrote about that.
And look at the
Yeah,
reaction.
Players Tribune.
NDSU, that's North Dakota State University.
What a great shade. Last year, the second overall pick came
So,
By the way, we had Josh Quando on the show today. He's in North Dakota.
yeah, I heard that. That's great. So now that he's officially the quarterback, what are the thoughts you move forward? You can't worry about the picks they gave up this year. Just
Hey,
talk about him as a player.
It comes to the point where would I have made the move? No. Am I giving up on Bradford? No. I think Bradford played pretty well in the second half of the year. And you got to understand, coming off 2 ACL injuries, look at Tom Brady's worst season he ever had. It was the year after he had ACL surgery. McNabb's worst season ever was the year after he had ACL. You couldn't expect Bradford to come in and just start being accurate and on fire. I think as he got used to the speed of the game and the offense, keep in mind he had to learn a new offense, learn a new team. He played average, but the last 7 games he did play pretty well, which I would – someone who said bench him, not because he stunk and Sanchez was better, but because you were sold that he wasn't the guy, get the 4th-round pick for the playing time. I'm willing to give him another shot. I wouldn't have taken a quarterback to push him. I would have tried to make the team better, given him the year, and then at the end of the year, if he's not the guy, go get a quarterback, next year. There's a Jared Goff and a Carson Wentz in virtually every draft.
And even
There's
if you
Jameis Winston, Mariota. It's 2 guys every year that are at the top of that draft that are going to be available.
It's just a matter of when you kind of strike, and they felt this was the year to happen. By the way, now that San Diego is on the clock, kind of the draft officially
Now
begins
we
here. The
really-
first real decision to make, where do the Chargers go? And this will sort of set an effect here of what Dallas does at 4. From reports, Dallas will take Jalen Ramsey or Ezekiel Elliott. We'll see what the Chargers do, whether it's a trade out or whether it's an offensive lineman, which I think they should do because they've got a 35-year-old quarterback who was sacked the most in the NFL last year. You need a pass protector for his blind side. And as Eagles fans know, King Dunlap's not the answer.
No. And the other thing was, Philip Rivers is, if anybody's loyal to the Chargers, it's Philip Rivers. Because that guy's had 2 chances to leave. He stayed. You owe him to protect him.
All the intangibles, the brains. What I like is he applies it on game day.
At this stage,
College quarterbacks.
King Dunlap is your left tackle out there. Well, I believe you got to upgrade there.
And they've got all 3 tackles waiting for you to choose which one you want. If it's Larry Tunsil, if it's Ronnie Stanley, if it's Jack Conklin for some reason, you got all 3 right there for you.
It really depends on your preference.
And it looks like that's going to be the selection because the Dallas War Room, they are smiling and high-fiving, which means the Chargers did not take their guy.
A dummy count to see the blitz coming. And when he recognizes it, he can audible
And this is the part about Carson Wentz's game too that I liked. It kind of put me over the edge with him and Goff is that he really was checking at the line. He was running full range. He was style offense. Goff and those hurry up offense, they're worried about getting more and more plays in. So it's quick half field reads, right? Boom, 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 boom.
Wentz is used to changing plays in line of scrimmage.
Yep,
He doesn't know how.
exactly.
I like Wentz more than I like Goff. So
I think we're in agreement here.
So the question now is, if the Chargers go, I've seen 3 different mock drafts now with 3 different offensive linemen with the Chargers. So
there's a lot of wins in here.
Yep, they don't skim.
is it Stanley? Is it Tunzel? Or is it Conklin?
For the longest time, everyone was in agreement that. Oh, by the way, back to the Chargers' offensive line.
That's what I'm talking about.
Reasoning here. Who did they pick in the first round last year? Answer is Melvin Gordon, the running back from Wisconsin. He was awful last year, and not all because of he was my second pick in one of my fantasy teams. I recognize he did awful.
I also offered to trade him.
So
bad job.
not only are they trying to protect Phillip Rivers' blind side, they've got to create some lanes for their investment a year ago.
To steal a year.
Yeah. Break that alley, that X block. So if they were wise, I think they'd take Tunsil or Stanley here, whichever one that their group feels
Here's my thing.
is better.
Now, you're like me. We watch a lot of college football.
Yes, too much.
I like Tunsil better than Stanley because Tunsil does something a lot of young offensive linemen don't do anymore. Punch block.
Okay.
He doesn't grab you with his fingers.
The biggest thing in pass protection for offensive linemen is getting your hands up on them.
What he does is when a guy, I'll demonstrate with you, when a guy comes around the edge of him, he doesn't put his hands out on him. He hits him immediately.
Offensive line,
And then
Coach Josh.
engages. Actually, I played defense. Probably why I'm so short.
So the Chargers pick is in, and we'll see what that move is, and then the Dallas Cowboys come on the board.
Look at this. So they're listing quarterbacks who selected first and second overall. Look at that list.
So there's been Archie and Plunkett both had decent careers.
Bledsoe,
Bledsoe, yes. Myra, no. Peyton, yes. Leaf, no.
Bust.
Cal's
Bust.
bust. McNabb, yes.
Luck.
Luck, bust. Jameson Mariota, too early to tell. And obviously Gotham wins.
You know what the funny about Plunkett is? He was actually originally a bust. He was drafted by the Patriots.
But he ended up reserved as
He ended up with the Raiders and resurrected his career. So, you know, sometimes a guy like RG3 can have a tough time beginning of a career and make it better later. Alex Smith did it.
Yeah. Correct.
So sometimes a guy, and that's what one thing I hate about Bradford. You complain.
Where do you get off, you know? I don't understand it. Even if you're better than Sam Bradford, you're a quarterback in a higher standing with the team than he is, where do you get off doing that?
Here's what I think with Bradford. We've seen a million times guys that play for multiple teams before they hit their niche. What makes him different? Oh,
Here
we got the
go,
Chargers pick.
This is where it gets interesting, everybody.
It's where the fun begins.
Third pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the San Diego Chargers select Joey Bosa.
Wow!
Whoa!
Joey Bosa, the
Shock
first
to the
upset.
draft so far.
They go with Bosa, and now
Now, remember in August and September, he was the projected #1 overall pick. And today he goes #3.
wow, that was not picked.
Now the Cowboys are really celebrating.
So this was a guy that was on Dallas's radar, right? They were saying if it wasn't going to be Elliott, if it wasn't going to be Jalen Ramsey, that he was going to be the pick. So now Dallas sits at 4 with, in my opinion, the best player in this draft sitting there at Jalen Ramsey. And if they choose to go the route of a running back, you got the best running back there. This puts Dallas in a great position. So now I think this is a no-brainer here. I'm going to get up. I'm a little nervous now. They need to take Jalen Ramsey with this pick, Josh, right now.
I agree. All right, let's go back to Bosa real quick. So I'm typing this on Twitter right now. The Chargers are going deep instead of protecting Rivers. Bosa is arguably one of the best players in this draft.
He's not going to be extremely disruptive and extremely explosive. He's going to be a really good starter for a long time in this league. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll be maybe an 8 to 9 sack guy, a lot of tackles, maybe tackles for loss, good against the run, just a solid player overall. And the Chargers too run a 3-4, so if he's able to play the 5 technique.
Here's the thing with Bosa, and I'm going to get yelled at for saying this, but his game tape looks a lot like J.J. Watt. So to me, he's a poor man's J. Watt. I'm not saying he's going to be J.J. Watt.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the Chargers would be thrilled if he was.
But what I'm saying is that he has that type of skill set.
Yeah, those guys just took Bosa.
We were shocked.
I heard you guys cheering on the way. I turned around, I was like, they just took Joey Bosa. Well, what would you like to see here happen?
I think this is a no-brainer here. You got to take Jalen Ramsey. He's the best player in this draft. I mean, you pair him with your first-round pick a year ago, and you get Orlando Scandrick coming back from the injury, who's your best corner, and you've got some punch in that secondary for Dallas now. I mean, that's been a problem for them for a long time. They've been mediocre at best in their secondary, and now you can get a real playmaker. He's falling right to you.
You don't take Ramsey now.
Well, don't be shocked if Ezekiel Elliott is the pick here.
But you can get a running back.
I agree with you, but don't be shocked if Dallas takes Elliott.
You know one of the best running backs in this draft, and you won't see him until probably
Alex Collins from Arkansas. That's what I think.
Devontae Booker of Utah.
You said that. I heard you say that a couple times.
Do you like Ezekiel Elliott right here?
I can't be mad at having the best running back on your team, for especially with a team with 2 aging guys who are really stopgap at this point. But I think you need to take Jalen Ramsey.
67,000 signatures to get this on the ballot. It'll be for a stadium and convention center. It's the way that San Diego will say.
I can't believe they just took Bosa.
I can't believe it either. I think they were going to offensive line for sure.
That made up for the lack of excitement with those first 2 picks.
So now what are the offensive linemen drop? Because we know the Ravens want an offensive lineman. We know the 49ers could use one. The Browns could use one. We could actually see 3 picks in a row later. All offensive linemen.
We know they're going to have Bosa this year.
You can see 6, 7, 8, all offensive line. They all need it.
So here we go.
They lose. And that's why they're picking for it.
By the way, what about the fashion statement from Ezekiel Elliott?
Well, that was a poor look.
That was great poor taste.
That was an extremely poor look.
Carolina Blue. Going for
Well,
the
he only
Cowboys.
has half a shirt on underneath that jacket.
Is Midriff is showing?
Yeah.
Did you not see Twitter earlier?
No.
Oh, I got to show you. There's a Prime Jordan meme already.
Right, Jordans again.
That is the greatest. Like it look right here.
I think Jalen Ramsey will be the pick for the
Did you see this one?
Yeah, I saw it live actually. They had it on sports.
Say whatever you want to
Got
say.
a crying Jordan Midriff.
I can't get enough of that.
Like crying Jordan.
And now Jason Garrett, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Charlotte Jones, and Jerry Jones Jr. are all huddled together talking intently of what to do.
Wait, is her name really Charlotte?
Charlotte Anderson is her married name, but she's the daughter of Jerry.
Okay. I didn't know that was good.
A lot of tense looks in this draft room right now.
I'll be arguing about who to pick.
This is a big selection, man. 1 and 13 without Tony Romo. My gosh, in the last 5 years.
I mean, I don't care if they had a Super Bowl roster. That's a hideous ability to find a backup. I mean,
They've gone through them. They've had Brad Johnson, and they've had John Kitna, and Kyle Orton, and Brandon Weeden. I mean, and on paper, these guys should be decent backups.
Yeah, but this is the year they have to get.
Oh, absolutely. And
I don't mean drafting Nate Sudfeld of Indiana.
you believe Hogan would be the guy.
Oh, I think Hogan's great.
So
I
Dallas
think.
under 2 minutes now. It's a trade.
Whoa!
No, 2015.
The Falcons, the pick is in.
Look, it's in. It says Falcons.
I was in that studio. There's a spot and then a break and then the next break.
So the Falcons are.
Tom talking girls. I'm only doing what he said.
No, why would it say Atlanta's on the clock?
No, that was in 2015.
Oh, thank God. I was about to lose my mind. They've said all week they're not going to trade it. I was going to say they really just did that.
I say Gurley's grade was high enough. Go ahead and take him. I personally, if I were a GM, my philosophy is never, whether it's Adrian
Oh, man, some
Peterson
people are
or
really.
Cadillac Williams.
Oh, my God, brother.
Under a minute to go, Dallas. Sometimes I wonder if they just let the clock run for dramatic effect.
They do, of course they do.
Like you wonder if the pick's already in, they just kind of.
Let me separate. Okay, you two. I shall not talk in class. Let us hear from Lewis, would you?
That crying Jordan is
Great. I mean, and I look forward to after every team that loses in any big game. It's just you wait for it every time. And Dallas has only drafted a quarterback, by the way, twice in the last 25 seasons since Troy. You know where they were? One was Quincy Carter. The other was Stephen McGee.
That's an unacceptable.
By the way, remember Stephen McGee in college?
Texas A&M, man. Jerry Jones is on the phone. The pick is in. Let's see who they hand the phone to.
And the Cowboys should have drafted him.
And that's not by accident.
When they
Go give it to the director of pro personnel. We still don't have a coach on the phone here.
Dalen Ramsey. I'm just saying, Ezekiel Elliott would be my guy here regardless. I think this decision, if they do take Ezekiel Elliott, was made a lot easier by Joey Bosa going to San Diego. Because that's who fit them, that's who they need. Desperately is that pass rusher that Joey
I see the Cowboys should pick Jalen.
I think that needs to be the pick. I'd be very, very pleased with that.
He believes they should have gone Bosa. That Bosa's no longer there.
Like, Bosa's not there anymore, so I can't say that. I haven't seen Bosa for the
I thought Bosa would be a solid choice. I think Jalen Ramsey needs to be the pick here.
And then the third round, you better draft either Kevin Hogan or Dak Prescott.
No, I'll take
Depending
depending on what they go here, depending on what, well, it looks like they're not going to go pass rusher here. They still do not have a coach on the phone. I think they're trying to hide it.
They want to duplicate that. It's a
They might run a call.
They took the best one according to them. Meanwhile, the Cowboys 2 years ago with
I was looking at the weird script on the screen. You keep changing that font where the pick is in.
Here we go.
With the
Come on, just do it. Take them.
With the fourth pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Ezekiel.
Wow. They went and they did it.
And you get your running back.
Oh, wow.
Everybody got two Ohio State players off the board.
There it
And
is.
we're not even at pick 5.
So they thought that this Ezekiel Elliott was that special to go running back at 4. Wow.
I gotta find out when was the last time a running back was drafted that high. John Carter? Because Adrian Pearson was 6 or 7. He wasn't top 5. I gotta look it up.
Ezekiel Elliott will get the short yardage. He will keep the chains moving. He'll also put you in a position.
And they believe that they need it.
Wow. I gotta say, I'm pretty shocked. But either way, this pick, you can't be mad. I mean, this guy is an absolute stud. He's going to be your back for the next
10 years.
10 years. Very good. He's got great size. He can catch. He can block. He's going to be running behind one of the best offensive lines in football. And he's to me, he's a more explosive DeMarco Murray for a fraction of the price. So what do you do? What were you successful at in 2014? You ran the ball better than anyone else.
Actually, I think he's better than Marshall Falk.
Well, I'm just going with the recent.
I say he's Marshall Falk, but with thicker legs.
Wow. Running back at 4. I mean, look, don't line him up in the slot. He's catching the ball. I mean, he is an ultimate weapon.
Yeah, I guess I'd say Marshall Falk.
Don't get me wrong. You can't be mad at this selection, but I think
I don't care for it.
I think you can get a running
I
back
think it's
later. I mean, you can't be mad at this
I
pick.
can't be mad at it. I just don't. I don't see how you can test a Jalen.
This is the best 4-12 team in the history.
But Jalen, now you know Jalen Ramsey get picked by the Jaguars. The Jaguars come out and said they're going deep.
Yep. So this has to be Ramsey here.
I just can't take a running back that high. It's preposterous. Doesn't mean he stinks. I mean, he could be a great player. But I just can't see taking a running back that high in today's game.
Well, you know, for every
We talked early was
number 10.
tremendous, and that team.
Well, that team also didn't have the players in place that Dallas has, with the quarterback and the receiver and the tight end, and the offensive line. That's not negotiable. Now, Ezekiel Elliott's going to be. He'll run for 1,200 yards this rookie year. It shouldn't be a question. And he's
Panther.
1,200. Yeah, 21. Yeah, he'll break the rushing record.
Sure.
I'll tell you this, you better protect your knees, you better protect your chin, because he'll take out either one of them. Hey, look, the guy is vicious at both. He still doesn't understand philosophy. He's over here laughing. I'm talking about back. I'm evaluating the player. I'm not talking about philosophy, John.
They did it.
Again?
Well, that was their guy, and they did it. I thought Jalen Ramsey'd be a shoo-in, but they feel that this guy is special, and he better be special.
If you're sitting at number 4 right now, number 5 right now, you were going to take Jacksonville was going to take Miles Jack.
Now it's got to be Jalen Ramsey, right?
Miles Jackson, drop.
The only other one was Tony Dorsett. How did that work out?
You know what the drop means? Possible trade.
So far. Jacksonville, unlike many of these
Back-to-back Buckeyes, by the way. I missed that little fact in my haste.
What are there all the time? Is it the
Might end up seeing about 6 Buckeyes in the first round.
But they made some strides for sure.
Let me see here.
Offensively,
Going through NFL draft history
as the
here.
head coach, he
Last time, alright, so the last time a running back was drafted top 5. You guys remember real quick. Down there.
What was that?
Last time a running back
Was
was
it Ronnie
drafted.
Brown, Cadillac?
Yep, it was actually more recent.
And you were the offensive MVP of that
Top
game.
5?
Oh, Trent Richardson. Don't remind me.
Number 3.
Let's listen to this.
I won that national championship in Dallas and Terry.
Look how happy he is.
I'd be happy too. They got some nice guys blocking.
I was just gonna say, I'd be happy too if I was going to play behind arguably the best offensive line in the NFL.
Do the same thing in Dallas. I would have the Super Bowl trophy.
Well, that's why I asked the question, because you certainly should feel at home. Now that's your home field. But what's it like to share in this, the footsteps of Emmitt Smith?
Yeah, I need better questions than this.
Follow the footsteps. Come on.
I'm going to live up to the name.
Urban Meyer said you are the best he's ever coached to play without the ball in your hand, the blocking. Where does that desire come from?
Well,
I go out there
You know,
and play for my
the reality of it is, I think this guy's going to be great
I
for
got
that
the
team.
long way, and I'm going to be working too.
Obviously, the other thing is that
But you could have got a running back later that would equally be as effective as Ruck. And then you could have had Jalen Ramsey. But maybe the whole thing that in his career as a 3-year starter, Jalen Ramsey only had 3 interceptions. And what does Rod Marinelli predicate his defense on? Take the lead. Maybe that weighed into it. I don't know. But
yeah, but you gotta remember, Jalen Ramsey wasn't asked to force turnover. He was asked to be a guy who basically he's kind of like Rod Woodson. He's going to play cornerback in games where he's going to transition. So you have to understand that as a cornerback, his skill set wasn't forcing turnovers. And in fact, in his career, you mentioned like 3 interceptions. One of those 3 interceptions were him actually playing his corner. He was shifted over to a safety.
in 2014 when they had DeMarco Murray.
now that the Cowboys are putting the
Take
towel
his
up,
head.
overwatch this, they're putting the towel up over the war room. I think they're going to get some
Picks, and
secret
they
stuff.
went 12-4, and obviously won a playoff game before losing at
What
Lambeau
is going
Field.
on?
And I
Let me
did
just
just have
close that out for now.
a chance to talk to Emmitt Smith right after this. tape was
Ezekiel
made.
Elliott,
His career
running back,
champion and a 3-time
Ohio
Super Bowl
State.
winner. And he said he wouldn't compare Ezekiel Elliott's
Well, let's see
game
what's
to his
available.
own.
Well, he
Uh,
wore 11
You're not going to get
pounds.
22, 21's taken.
Was a little surprised, quite honestly,
You can't
the
run with that.
Cowboys, given what they have on defense, took
Running
an
back's gotta be
offensive
20.
Pete
player,
Thompson believes the
told
Cowboys
defensive
made a
coaches,
mistake.
signed off on this.
There's going to be a lot of questions about this pick, but I think they're safe to say they've got the best running back in the draft there, and he's going to be productive. It's just a matter of could you have gotten a productive back later and gotten someone at 4 like Jalen Ramsey to be a star as well. I mean, no doubt this guy's going to be good. I'm not questioning that at all. Nobody would question Ezekiel. He's one of the all-time leading rushers at Ohio State. Think about the running backs that have been there.
He's probably the best running back.
I think he's out-rushed Eddie George's career. I think the only Archie Griffin, right? The only one that has more yards.
Who's the pick right here?
You think Jalen, maybe DeForest Buckner.
You would think.
With the 5th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Jalen Ramsey.
There he
There you
is.
go.
Gotcha.
Finally a predictable selection.
Yep. That guy is a stud.
Well, they don't have
My favorite player.
Tallahassee to Jacksonville has an athlete.
Could have had him.
Wow.
Joe's not.
Ramsey said, hey, I'm the best player in the draft. Jake,
He believes he is the best player in that draft.
Well, I'll tell you this thing. The Cowboys have the best starting running back in the NFC East, and he's a rookie.
this year on defense, because remember, Dante Fowler tore an ACL the first week.
Of course, you got to remember,
Workout
Jaguars. Plays for Gus Bradley.
And
What was
Ramsey,
the
that could
defensive
be
coordinator
some
for
serious
who?
juice for the Jaguars on that side.
Seattle
of the ball.
Seahawks.
You think about Gus Bradley going with the big corners they had in Seattle. You think about adding Deshaun Gibson, safety, and
Yeah,
adding
Pete Mel Kiper for the punch.
now you bring in Jalen
Yeah.
Ramsey. You think about a guy 6'1" and a quarter,
Not proud of myself.
209 pounds with a 41.5 vertical. He's a gifted athlete. He made a lot of his big plays behind the line of scrimmage. This is the guy I think they talked about his safety as he's the last line of defense. I think I would bother you a bit as a fresh corner. Good player, and he made a great corner with only 3 career receptions. Trey Smith only had 3 coming out of
So
Colorado.
here we go.
Ronald Darby only had 2 coming out.
Now, for those who don't know,
Jackson, 5.
I mentioned earlier, the Eagles are my number 2 team. This is my number 1 team.
Well, Rodriguez 8. So 3 career receptions.
Number 6 on the clock, the Ravens.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is all about scheme fit for Jalen Ramsey.
Because
When you think about him down there in Jacksonville,
first football game I ever watched, the first game I ever watched was Catholics versus convicts game. When Miami played Notre Dame. And as a kid growing up in South Philly, I thought Miami was misunderstood as a 4-year-old. So I went with Miami, and then Miami went ahead and started drafting, both Ravens started drafting half of Miami team the next 6 years. So it was a pretty simple transition.
It's another thing to be efficient with your feet and be efficient with your hands.
Sorry, no.
Here. So it means he's going to have to be patient, no false steps, don't overcommit, so you don't let wide receivers take away your.
So Jason LaCanfora right now, CBS Sports is saying that he expects Larry Tunsil to go right here. Well, Matthew Berry is saying that he expects Ezekiel Elliott to be a top 10 fantasy running back.
This guy's only had 3 career interceptions.
Ezekiel Elliott is only the 3rd running back the Cowboys have taken in the top 20 of the NFL draft. The other 2 are Hall of Famers, Emmitt Smith and Tony Dorsett.
Well, if you can join those 2, then they'll be in good shape, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, so Zeke Elliott runs for, in 2013 in mile off duty, he was behind at the time, the name escapes me. Zeke Elliott's freshman year, he was splitting time, and he was behind Carlos Hyde. He ran for 262 yards, 2 scores. 2014 is when they won a national championship.
What?
He runs for 1,818, and then last year runs for 1,820.
I've been drinking water all day.
He's got to pick up this down-to-down effort, get to the football,
Leave it to me to walk out the door when my team's on the clock.
all the instincts I keep reading
Baltimore, number
about.
6. Here we
I
go.
feel comfortable about him.
Tunsil right here.
I like him up in there as a press corner where he can use
Yep.
the side.
Baltimore Ravens got to protect Joe Flacco coming off an injury.
Pick up this down-to-down urgency, a lot like Earl Thomas of the Seattle Seahawks. I want to see this kid get to the ball, finish plays. Jalen, if you're listening to me, get some Earl Thomas film, study his playing demeanor. If you can do that, you can be great. Let me say this, a dropped interception back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s wasn't that big a deal. It usually happens on 3rd down, then you get a punt.
So who does everybody think's going here?
Second down will kill you. Next play is a touchdown.
I got to go Tunsil.
They got the pick of any 3 of the tackles they want. You would think you want to protect.
We'll see.
This was a spot for maybe Ezekiel Elliott, too, that they were saying now that he's gone, you think you just go with the offensive lineman. So that's
To the Atlantic to Jacksonville. There's another Jalen Susie Culver who we thought until the bowl game
Oh, who-
happened. The
Running back for Baltimore.
will
That
be going right
No
around
name
this
guy.
point in the draft. To you.
Well, you're right, Boone.
Yeah, but it's Susie Colbert.
Opportunity to tell everybody about the player that most.
Who's the running back?
The best prospect in
For
the
the
entire
Ravens,
draft.
yeah.
And that was until the catastrophic
Split
knee
duty
injury
last
that
year.
he suffered
You got Tyler Farrell as a power
in
back.
January.
Then you guys
Well,
got
what's that
Justin
guy hurt?
Forsett as a
Forsett.
step back.
Yeah.
Notre Dame tore
They split the
two
carry.
knee ligaments.
Forsett had a good year 2 years ago.
Stretched the nerve.
Forsett's the guy who
Lifted
fantasy
his foot and set it
people
back
love,
down.
but
All the
regular
great
Ravens fans love Telefasara because he's the one who gets all the goal line carries. Breaks 20 tackles on the way to the end zone.
Smith surgeon Dr. Dan Cooper insists that because the
The guy scored 43 touchdowns in his
and
career.
not severed, that it can regenerate.
Okay, I'm
That
sorry,
means
taking off that.
he believes there's an 80% chance that Jalen can come all the way.
Tunsil right here.
I think so.
This, though, is when it comes to nerve, there's no crystal
I
ball.
mentioned it earlier.
It's very
He
unpredictable.
is
So
the
you have to
best
have time
pure
and patience,
blocker
something a lot of NFL
all
teams
the way.
don't have. I've been told that about 20
And he can
teams
start
can't risk it,
tomorrow.
but there are 10 that are in
Protect
the
Joe
running.
Flacco.
And Jalen is
He believes he is the best.
go on the second day of this draft.
He's the best
Now,
lineman.
Jalen
So it's going to be interesting here in about an hour and a half when we get into this range here, anywhere from Washington to maybe say Seattle. This is the landing zone for teams wanting to jump back in for a Connor Cook or a Paxton Lynch if he falls. This is where it might get interesting.
See that 15?
You
Like
really
my
see
player,
the
right there,
value
back
of
at
timing and
Top
everything.
10.
Let's go to
Yell
Adam.
it.
Well, thanks very much, Susie. Two of the big questions in this draft are about two linebackers. Notre Dame linebacker Jalen Smith and UCLA linebacker Miles Jack, who's got a meniscus condition in his knee. As one GM said, would love to take him, love the player, but if I took him, I'd stay up every night worrying about his knee until the end of his career. Now let's go to the commissioner,
Miles
Roger
Jack.
Goodell.
McMullen believes he was top on the Eagles board.
Well, the Baltimore Ravens are on the clock, and the Ravens are a team that never drafts here. They're a team that's not expecting to draft in the top 10 for quite a while. They were 5-11 last year with injuries to so many of their huge players.
Gentlemen,
Now
Steve
they get a
Cordano
chance to get
has been
a
tweeting me
different space.
incessantly.
Tonight,
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Mike Silver says it's going to be Stanley, not Tunsil here. Let's see if he's right.
With the sixth pick
Said you
in the
are much too much of a
2016
fan
NFL draft,
to be in this media gig.
the Baltimore
Probably
Ravens
right.
select Ronnie Stanley.
Oh, so
Mike
he is.
Silver was right.
Yeah, how about that? Ronnie.
wow.
Look at that suit. He looks like he's should be one of the backup singers to Luther Vandross.
And play offense. They need speed on defense.
So San Francisco, do we get this is, I have no clue where this team's going to
Why
go.
is, what's it called? Wearing a leg.
So-
Who is
it? Ronnie?
Is he, his coach, Kelly.
That's the first tackle off.
From Notre Dame.
So, I'll let you all weigh in on that.
Put it in the back.
Irish, baby. Coach of Indiana, why are you wearing a leg?
When San Diego with 3 for Bosa over the offensive tackle. Now Baltimore takes Ronnie
Gentlemen,
Stanley.
you are too much of a fan.
That's not wrong.
Ronnie Stanley.
Yeah, you
was
gotta
a
look at
good
that.
athlete
But that's
as well. Look at him after starting
Oh,
2
man.
games at right tackle as a sophomore.
See ya.
He really became a fixture.
Good guys.
What they've been laying with his lady.
Ronnie Stanley?
He's on there.
Any thoughts here?
What, Ronnie Stanley? What is-
You're the Ravens fan.
Yeah, you're the. Oh, that's your other team? Well, then I'd like you to chime in here.
Well, you know what? I had nothing wrong with Ronnie Stanley. I just like Tunsil better. I think Stanley can play next level. I think he's the most athletic of the line. But to be an athletic tackle is not as important as your technique. That's why I like Tunsil better. I think the Ravens drafted him because he has the higher ceiling. I think that's the
Monroe
target.
was unreliable for the Ravens. He missed 15 games the last 2 years, was not the pass protector or the run blocker that they need. Stanley has the ability. He's got to prove that he
Ronnie
can be
Stanley.
something else.
I mean, it's interesting how I think everyone has this Tunsil guy who might have gone number 1, and he was, in some cases, the number 1 overall player, and now he's not even the number 1 overall player drafted in his position.
If this kid can really
Well, that happens almost every year.
ability,
Oh,
he's
of course
got a
it does.
chance to walk in the
Offensive
shoes
tackles,
of a guy
let's see
like
where
Donovan
they-
Ogden and give the
Offensive
Ravens
tackles is there,
desperate
yeah.
play at a critical position.
Yeah, not only reliability, coach availability. I think that's the reason why now, although people are shocked, I think that's the reason why now.
Someone's going to get a steal. Maybe the 49ers take Tunsil here. Does Cleveland put him at right tackle with Joe Thomas on the left? This is where he can slide a little bit.
Teams are considering
Yeah.
a whole bunch of things when you're picking this high in the draft. This guy they consider to be the safer one, the more dependable one.
Yeah, in this draft board I'm looking at, this guy is in his top 100. He's Larry Tunsil, the number 1 overall player, with Miles Jack as the
That
second
worked
overall
out pretty good. The Ravens.
followed by
when they get
Ramsey,
early
then
picks,
Bosa, and Elliott is number 5, Treadwell
done a
number
great
6.
job
This
with
is
it.
interesting.
We'll see if Stanley will turn out that way. Now, again, it's a mild upset.
Did someone release a video today of Larry Tunsil's work of weed?
But Adam Schefter, here's another potential storyline here.
Someone wrote, Larry Tunsil may fall on. Sources say his Twitter account was hacked and the video is old, but not denying that it's him and the video is smoking. And Don Banks wrote, after Tunsil video, the term draft smoke weed takes on a whole new meaning.
Tunsil was arrested on a domestic violence charge with his former stepfather, who
Just
also
Cole says
was
that
arrested. He was
counts
suspended
back.
7 games in 2015 for receiving improper
I've seen
benefits,
everything
and then 10 minutes before tonight's
With the
draft,
coaching and roster of today, do you like Wentz or Mariota?
a picture surfaced of
It's a fair
somebody
question.
This gentleman is not letting it go.
He was deleted. The account was deleted. And
How
right now,
about you?
teams are wondering whether that was Laramie Tunsil or not. Susie Culver's down before. She spoke to Laramie Tunsil's camp about it. Susie, what do you know?
I did speak to them just moments ago. I approached Tunsil first. He immediately directed me to his agent, Jimmy Sexton. He said, we've heard about what's going on. He said, all the teams know about it. They believe that the account was hacked.
That was the third time in Ravens history they have picked
Going back to high school.
offensive lineman to place
All
tackle.
the teams know
The other
about it.
two, Jonathan Ogden, Hall of Famer, and Michael Moore, the
If you're
blind
the
side.
head coach,
The Blind Side. You enjoyed that film.
that comes,
Okay.
you're thinking,
I mean,
how
Sandra
much
Bullock,
I wish Disney didn't make it.
you know, Sandra Bullock helped, you know, with the aesthetics of the movie.
This whole social
Right?
media scene makes me sick.
I'm sorry, I
There
didn't
a young
catch that.
kid out there.
I said
who
Sandra
runs
Bullock
a
helped
Twitter
with the
account.
aesthetics of the
Oh,
movie.
sure.
By the way, Andrew Brandt said he wanted to point out Ronnie Stanley is represented by Rock Nation Sports, Jay-Z. And he said this is the highest that a Rock Nation athlete has been drafted in the NFL draft.
Suspended, and he's had a lot of traits that
Another
tell you why you wouldn't want to
great interview we have with Sports
This
Bash
is
this week.
embarrassing.
Right,
I'm
Mike?
sure it hurts him a lot. And if I'm
I
a
enjoyed
head
it.
coach with my GM, I'm going someplace
All right,
else
so
to find a player.
Chip
early.
Kelly.
Look, the draft
Does he go Oregon again? Forrest Buckner?
That's what
People
people
didn't
are
even put
trying
that
to
together,
determine right
but
now.
that's possible. I wonder,
How much can we
is this the
depend
first,
on
like,
now? And when
really
this
big
kind of
quote
stuff
unquote,
surfaces,
I hate this
like
word, but
today,
quote unquote
tension's
reach
running
for a
high,
Paxton
and you know,
Lynch type?
the fate of the
I
franchise,
bought-
and you're-
I don't think Forrest Buckner's a reach. I just think that
Hey, maybe you already factored
he's
that
only a
in.
good fit in certain
If it caught you
schemes.
off guard, you think this can help
Because
in any way? I mean, Coach Sitz mentioned
he's
it.
either
This is something where
the defensive end on a 4-3 scheme, or he's what you call a floating lineman in a 3-4. There are guys who play just one position that floats around like Simeon Rice did and cover like a Kent Baker.
Yep, well, Simeon Rice, who was the prototype right defensive end in the Marinelli and Monty Kiffin camp twos, which they are predicated on pressure on the front four only and coverage and forcing errors. Dallas Cox tries to do success last year.
Adam Schefter says that controversy is swirling. Laramie Tunsil
How can they pick you? I don't care how good you look. I don't care how sweet your feet are. They can't pick you. What happens here, Lou, is you have a couple players that are pretty
From
equal.
James in the
And we
millionth
had
time.
issues that you
All right,
said
so
already
I'm
with Laramie
seeing
Tunsil, the
two
durability
different
of
San
their-
Francisco
not
coverage guys
many
saying
players
Forrest
that
Buckner
you
is the
hear.
pick.
It tips you away if you have players that are close to a Ronnie Stanley. So if your intent, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, was to take Laramie Tunsil, automatically you're going to audibilize to a guy who's right there engraved and take Ronnie
By the way,
Stanley.
Ronnie
what's
Stanley-
yeah, what is this?
Ronnie Stanley, according to Darren Ravel, has an endorsement deal with
Or you're
Zappos.
going to be scared off again.
Really?
Take
Shoe deal with
over
Zappos?
Tunsil. Be interesting to
That's
see how
different.
that all plays out here.
They do sell
Well,
shoes.
that's the storyline that.
But usually you're known
we
from, like,
will
the company who
follow
makes
as
the
we
shoe,
move
the
along
company who
here.
sells
We're
the
now under
shoes.
pick 7. San Francisco.
I don't think I've ever heard of a shoe store endorsing the guy.
49ers, after those years of success with Jim Harbaugh.
Waiting for a,
Whether
my
it
friend
was
texted me,
Tom Sula,
ready for a crying Jordan and Laramie Tunsil. SLB is in Photoshop. Hack it away.
By the way, Philadelphia Eagles official Twitter just tweeted out Doug Peterson says about Carson Wentz, quote, "This guy bleeds winning." That was something that attracted all of us
And
to
they have
him.
this number 7 overall pick.
Believes
In the
winning.
first round,
Over crying
The
Jordan.
Niners scored less than any other team last year.
Winning starts coming out of his arms.
Navarro Bowman coming back from knee injury and playing unbelievably.
This is blood
There
changed
wasn't
in
a
the
lot
color
of
that
movement
comes
up
out of
with
his
the
arm.
Niners. This is Chip
It
Kelly.
turns
That's
Eagles
the
green,
question
you go now, so you
himself.
Eagles right.
Can he reinvent
Green
himself
tears.
and learn from
Green
what
tears.
didn't work in Philadelphia?
All right, see you
There's quite a
Buckner.
bit of it. Self-evaluation, coaching,
Here we go.
evaluation, draft. That'll be the
I have no idea what they could go in a multitude of directions. I'm gonna say I like your Buckner idea. Let's say Buckner.
In the 2016 NFL Draft,
Mike Scott's head.
the San Francisco 49ers select DeForest.
Of course,
Ooh,
Oregon.
very nice. Oregon Duck.
Oregon.
Put two and two together. So
That's
it's
a great match. Oh, there's a leg. He's got a whole bush around his neck.
Scott Wright and Buckner going to the Niners.
yeah, Oregon, Scott Wright.
Scott Wright is correct.
And Chip Kelly.
This
Yes,
is Cleveland,
yes,
which was the original, not the original, but the Eagles spot a week ago.
huge hands. I think the improvement as a pass rusher this past year. 4 sacks 2 years
Remember
ago.
Buckner was supposed to go to the Chargers at one point? They were supposed to go as low
Yeah, I
as
saw that a lot. Yeah.
He had like a 7-8 pick range.
The inside pressure, the ability to be a good run defender. I don't think
So, yeah, I want you guys to watch some of this game tape. See how Buckner lines up at different places on the line? He never lines up at the same place in college. In the line. He'll be inside, he'll be
What scares
outside.
me about these guys is Oregon defenders. I mean, Kiko Alonso had one nice year.
Now he's
What's Deion Jordan doing?
Deion Jordan's straight.
Deion Jordan was a fluke in college, and he was on
He also
performance
blew out.
enhancers as well.
He also blew
He
out.
was on performance enhancers. You should know this.
Is that the only reason why?
Weakens your tendons.
Of course it was.
Tendons. And he sucked in the pros. They trade up to number 3 to grab him. There's a boy. Great ball protection by him. Pop standing in there. Browns trying to pick the Titans. They were right yet again.
There we go. Titans are coming back. Titans are coming to get Larry Tunsil. They're going to get their guy anyway. They could have drafted Tunsil number 1. It's like the draft of the movie. Kevin Costner went. I want Kevin Putney. Damn it.
This means they traded parentheses if you need to understand this better.
User's guide to Zach Rutledge.
When I watch him play, last year in the bowl game against
So maybe we
TCU,
can review
they
after the top 10.
28-point lead in the fourth quarter. All you need is one
Go
sack
through any
to
sort of
get
surprises, that
off the
sort of
ball
thing.
and get it done. And at the point of attack, I have seen Buckner give up
Chip
some
Kelly
real
took an
estate
Oregon player.
at the
He's
point
back
of
Kramer.
attack. I'm curious against Jack Conklin of Michigan State. He has work to do, certainly a 6'8" man playing football at the point of attack with his pad level. He's got to prove he can rush the passer and be a 3-down player.
Larry Tunsil must want to go to the Denver Broncos. This guy believes.
Decided. I have my questions about Buckner going
That's
this
poor
high.
comment.
My friendship with Tunsil.
I think the Titans here are going to pick Tunsil.
Oh, I like how they're announcing the trades over the speaker.
Yeah, that's cool. By the way, what do you guys think? Start off against the draft next year.
Without a first round pick. And the
Yeah,
other
no,
choice was
but
LA.
get the-
I know, but the fans going to go with the first round. The Eagles won't have the first round. And then the other choice was LA, and the Rams won't have one either.
Right. It's kind of ironic losing 2 finals. Hey, get a quarterback. Get the draft from your city. The Titans should pick 15, the 2016 third rounder, and a 2017 second rounder.
To get a left tackle, we have the worst offensive line.
So the Titans, and actually,
coming off an injury. Got Jack Conklin.
I'm looking at this right now.
Larry Tunsil. Larry Tunsil was number 1 on my board.
I believe that third rounder is from the Rams
for
for 2016.
Was number 1 on my board.
Bill Gates is saying he thinks it is.
Yeah,
but
now
they're
We'll
terrified.
see what happens. If in fact they take Tunsil or they audibilize like maybe the Ravens did and take a guy like Jack Conklin.
Every time.
Well, so
Good to know.
Tennessee, we're going to get into the details
What's
on
going
the
on?
trade in a moment. So, John Robinson, the new
Mary
general
Kay Cabot
manager
on
of the
Twitter
Tennessee Titans,
says,
She's a Cleveland Browns playing dealer.
Right now, we can only
she
assume
says the Browns trading back
that
has everything to do with draft picks.
And what do you think? Marcus
And
Mariota
Paxton,
got hurt a little, but
It's a possibility.
I don't think anybody.
They love that RG3.
The Steelers have only drafted in the top 10 one time in the last 27 years.
Must
The
be
commissioner
nice.
has the card.
Once.
We'll get to the
In the last
trade in a
20
moment.
years.
And then when they had 11, and they get
27.
and then at pick 11, they get a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Shows how little you have to draft in the top.
I agree. Gotta pick, where you pick, you got to make them count.
Yeah, because there's 70 guys that you can draft.
You guys talked about, you had John Clayton on the other day, and I was listening to him on the way up here. He said something interesting. Only 65% of first-round picks ever become qualified starters. So
To the
a
Tennessee
third of
Titans
these people aren't going to start on these teams
with the 8th pick
or be
in
qualified.
the 2016
Yeah.
NFL
I
Draft.
say Tunsil here.
The Tennessee
Got
Titans
Got
select
it.
Jack.
Whoa! Well, they went offensive line.
Well, Tunsil, that video must be
I mean, he must be doing hard drugs.
wow. He's doing hard drugs.
I mean, this guy's supposed to be the first pick to this team. They trade back up or something for him. And go with Jack Conklin.
So here dropping all the way down.
Wow.
And it's a spot for 2 teams that took left tackle. Now you get Jack Conklin, set all along, 0 red flags. He was one of the 10 guys you could
I
argue
love that.
could be the number 1 player in this
That Conklin.
Great free throw, which is a tremendous test for overall ability.
Yeah, I wonder if teams are starting to.
3/4, 308 pounds.
How far is Tunsil falling now?
So let's look.
Mike Freeman tweets. Tunsil is doing the electric slide out of the first
The
round.
Giants, they can always use help on their line. That's been a mess for a couple seasons. The Bears, Jay Cutler gets sacked a lot. I'd be surprised if Tunsil gets past the Giants. I think that's. Where's Miles Jack though? By the way, I saw some out of it here. The big
Oh, they
teams.
changed the theory.
Even if you go from the left side to the right side.
This could be Vernon Hargraves right here.
He's very good too.
Big Hargraves guy.
Yeah.
Huge Hargraves guy.
Well, it's funny. When the Eagles had the 8th pick, we were wondering if he would be there. I thought he would go a little higher. Hargraves.
Yeah, I saw a lot of top 10, and then it kind of his stock tailed off a bit. Now it's looking like teams.
This guy is a throwback. This guy is sick.
This is funny.
This guy is an animal. I'm
So,
very happy to
an old
see
friend of mine on
that he's
Twitter,
a good football
she's an
player.
aspiring journalist. She says the Browns are so scared to take the wrong draft pick. They'd rather just give everybody else their draft picks and keep falling back. Now, I gotta remember, the Browns now being run by a baseball guy, Pete Podesta, who's the league analytics guy. So, I wonder what the analytics are saying to them about these draft picks.
That was fun. Gentlemen, who will not be named on Twitter is a fun guy.
He can down block. What's the punishment that he can deliver with his strong hands and long arms? He can
So,
play
guys,
for
Conklin over Tunsil.
He's going to be
What do you guys think?
I don't know enough about this video that's apparently out.
I haven't seen it. I've only read about it.
What is he? He's doing? He's smoking?
Yeah, he's smoking.
He's got weed. I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen the video.
Apparently, the video is a massive clown.
Randy Gregory of last year.
That's good business.
Randy Gregory did a video and he admitted to having mental issues and stuff.
And a second round of 2017. The roar you hear behind us, Tampa Bay was an 8, but Chicago has just traded up. So the Bears, the hometown Bears, have gone from 11 to 8. They're next on the clock. Details of the trade and the crowd buzzing when we go back.
Never something told me. Once we get maybe the next 2 picks, we can break and go through these here and see what sticks out to you. I'll
We'll
tell
go through
you.
them now because they went to commercial break. If you want to go through real quick, you can go to step out of the room. But
Buccaneers trade the pick. We've got a trade.
oh, good God,
Bears. There. This has Tunsil. Past the Giants.
Well, who would the Bears want? It's not Tunsil.
You don't miss a thing.
That they're scared the Giants.
It's called active noise cancellation. It's
True.
available
Giants
to
do need some offensive line now.
crafted in 2016
They always do.
GMC. This is the
Chicago
precision
now.
of professional grade. Or get
I'm
nearly
assuming this is
8,300 total
Tampa.
value on specially equipped 2016 Sierra Crew Cab
So we've
SLT
got
models.
3 trades.
GMC,
2 trades
we
so
are
far.
professional grade.
Whoa, guys, say yes to pizza at $5 flavor menu. Medium pizzas, Wing Street Wings, Hershey's Cookie, or new stuffed garlic nuts.
This doesn't have to end in a fight.
You're right, Captain. Everyone gets what they want. Marvel's Captain America Civil War. In theaters, May 6th. $5 flavor menu, only at Pizza Hut.
Some cashback cards are, shall we say, unnecessarily complex, limiting where you can earn bonus cashback.
All right,
Man,
Bears
those
have the pick
places
now.
change
They just trade with the Bucks.
Please, it's time you got the Quicksilver card from Capital One. Quicksilver earns you unlimited
he's,
1.5% cashback on every purchase
Gentlemen.
every week.
Gentlemen.
Doesn't get much simpler than that. What's in your mind?
I'm sure I can just
You know what?
predict.
I
No,
see the word.
somebody's racist. I'm sure. Somebody's racist. Yeah. The guy's about as original as my left ass cheek. Somebody's always racist, and the other guy's somebody's.
Actually, it's funny because I spent half my life being accused of being the opposite of racist, and that was a bad thing. So
Bring it in there, lover boy.
when I moved down here,
That's not you. The only cold thing about you is the ice in your veins.
That's every year we do this thing. Somebody's only cheering when the
I got
white
skates.
players get.
That's superior
It's like every
protection.
single
It
time.
works overtime. We're going for
Oh,
time.
I
Why don't you
mean-
get back in there, march down that aisle, and say,
I've been called worse.
"You need me
I'm
up
sure we're
here."
in somebody's basement. That's another one.
Speed
You
skip.
said something.
I saw that one too.
The pressure's on now. You better believe
Wow, man.
that
Tweet
this
by Joe
opportunity
Banner. He says he's stunned that the Browns keep trading down.
How many picks they have now?
yet.
I want to say 14,
I'm gonna
15.
say
It's do
23.
or die time.
I'm actually down.
Crying Jordans.
That was crazy. So the one where it says the Browns whole draft board, it says crying
Here we
Jordan,
go.
crying Jordan.
According to Adam Schefter, the Bears traded from 11 to 9. They also gave up their 4th round pick.
You got up one spot, two
The
spots.
Chicago Bears have
I gotta find that for you.
11 to 8. They trade with the
One of my
Tampa Bay
favorites.
I can't believe they
Buccaneers.
didn't take Tunsil in that spot. He must have. I gotta see this video.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. You find it. You see it.
You and everyone else in the world is doing that. Oh, dude.
I'm actually just saying it Twitter. I'm not going to do it. You got a special presentation here?
Yeah, they do
With
this once
the
in a while.
Bears on the clock, we want to take this moment to remember one of NFL's greatest men, Chicago's own Hall of Famer, Walter Payton.
Nice.
By the way, that's some official news from Andrew Grant. He is confirming that the Ravens took Tunsil off their board after they saw the video.
So much to
A member of the
Chicago
organization
and
told
to
me.
football
And he
fans
said
everywhere.
that
And we're
that
honored
member
tonight
of the
to
Ravens
have his buddy
organization
Tony with us.
is a former high-powered lawyer.
Okay, there was a Larry Tunsil,
Every season we celebrate
a
Walter's
video of him
legacy
taking a bong hit
with the
while wearing a
Walter Payton
gas mask
NFL
was
Man of
posted
the
to
Year
his Twitter
award.
account just
It
before the
stands
draft.
for excellence in football.
Just got
And
one
community
thing
service.
to do.
Tunsil's agent confirmed that
Also,
Tunsil was in the
It's
video.
the 2015 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award winner, Anquan Bolden.
Oh, that Bolton's not signed.
Oh, there it is.
Should be.
There's a picture of the screenshot of it. Ripping a bowl.
Thank
I
you,
can
Anquan.
confirm I've seen one of those in
You
my day
and
where
your fellow
that's a
NFL
poor
players
picture
do
to have
every
posted.
year
I mean,
Just-
someone's
to make
lighting
our
him up
communities better.
Whoa.
in a gas mask
Thank
bomb.
you.
That's
Come on, man.
some high-level stuff.
This
Some good stuff.
This is Payton. Anquan
I just,
Bolden. Walter Payton is such a magical name. All
there's like 3 of mine.
I can't find it. I used to have it saved somewhere. It was like, you know how on ESPN they would do like the touch screen, they would swipe and they would do like the mock drafts. Or like they would bring the player's name over and they would sign over. Well, it showed all the Browns picks, like round 1 through 4, for all the things they got from trading with the Eagles. And then at every player they picked, they just replaced his face with the crying Jordan face. It was great.
Of course, the Bears don't have to pick Thompson here. They could go.
And these are the Junior Bears.
Hargraves is still second.
Roscoe Park Varsity Football
Last year they
Team.
took the receiver White.
And then the year before that, they took another corner, Fuller. Virginia Tech.
Here in Chicago.
The Bears traded to this spot?
Yes, the
Yeah,
Bears traded up.
Bears selection are the two-time Youth League champion Fosco Jude Park Jr.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
led by Jason Young.
Chicago.
Congratulations, coach.
Of course, they also could go the linebacker.
And to all the younger players, their
Yeah, there's a lot of
coaches,
talk about
their
him getting
families,
some steam last week.
I mean, he's a really good player, but
I watched a lot of SEC.
he wasn't the best even in his conference like that in the position.
So with the 9th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft,
Yeah.
the Chicago Bears select Leonard Floyd.
Wow.
Good call, Josh.
I was just throwing out names. Don't give me credit.
Well, you called it out.
Well, let's say they move up to get him, so
What are we calling him?
what
Ed
do they
Rusher?
see in Floyd?
OLB. He's an outside linebacker. Georgia.
I can't say I've seen too much of him, so I'm not gonna.
He's explosive.
I know.
He's explosive, but he gets sloppy with his pursuit.
They said he's got the best first step in his natural pass.
Oh yeah, he does.
But that's not. He's only 244 pounds. He's not going to hold up in the NFL against a run. You're going to be coming in as a pass rush specialist.
Well, he's like Jarvis Jones, like drafted by the Steelers.
He's got a little more thick.
Mike Gill notices the hole. It's only everywhere. There's holes right there. This is watch this. Just blows by the guy.
You got to make a better effort than that 22.
Who gets hauled his way through the course of the 16-game season in the NFL, and we'll see what happens here. But I think this is a need. This is a need pick.
Just disturb it. Disturb people.
It's a need pick. They believe it's in front of them.
So the Giants, they spend $48 billion on defensive players. They still go defense here.
Hargraves
with Jenkins on the other side of the feed.
Talk about a two-headed monster.
This is where Scott Wright thought they were going to go with Floyd. They need a
By the way,
linebacker.
Jenkins is the most overrated corner in the league. You know that no cornerback the last 2 seasons left 4 touchdown passes. George Jenkins. They just handed him. I don't know how much a year they have.
It's like
14 million a year, something like that. Ridiculous.
Josh Norman.
Quarterback.
That's
crazy.
Tonight's coach's playbook.
Of course, so that's what
Speed stick.
he's not going to be as good as he
He needs a
was.
speed stick.
We know he was supposed to be.
I like this player's athleticism. I like his juice and his pass rush. He is.
So, Mike, after the Giants pick, you want to recap this top 10?
Would
you like to do that?
They can do console.
That would be interesting.
He's going to have to drop into
The Giants
coverage at some
could
point.
use some offensive
I think
line help.
that is a weakness of Floyd's. Here he is playing in the flat. I've seen him carry receivers.
But I mean, it's just me. It's John Gruden breaking down tape. One of the strangest anomalies.
Was that?
As a linebacker,
Because I feel like
I think he's
good at it, but like they always have him do it, and nobody else. And it's like there are other guys who can, and this is probably either a Bears fan or a Giants fan.
especially at the point of attack.
Oh, both. I guess you
Two
could place
things
one.
that he desperately needs to work on. Fortunately for him, he's playing for Vic Fangio, an outstanding defensive coach, and John Fox has had a lot of success with players like this.
I'm being told, by the way, the
The
TV's
Bears
too
are
loud.
one of those teams that essentially gets 2 first-round picks. Remember
Oh,
last year,
no.
Kevin White, wide receiver, he never played for him. So
Pick is in for the New York Football Giants.
G-Men.
That's hard to believe. They haven't picked a linebacker in the first round since '84.
I can't imagine though the Giants would take a guy
With an eighth.
that's slipping like that because of
I was gonna say Miles Jackman.
I was thinking Miles Jack.
right. Well, Miles Jack would be. I mean, they need a linebacker.
I mean, John Beason is young. Who's their linebacker?
Terrible.
I mean, they had guys running out. That Unga guy was their middle linebacker. I watched when they played Dallas, he had 35-year-old Jason Witten undressing him on every play. Yeah.
dramatic RCD, I don't like it. Pull the face forward. Sure, you could get him a new car. You could also light a pile of money on fire. Because as long as Mr. It wasn't my fault takes the wheel on occasion, maintaining this car is your best option. So keep it running longer, stronger, with quality parts.
I wish he could wear that shirt. That was poor. You know, but you better just give me 2,000 yards next year. That's all I need.
Throwing arm again.
Maybe I shouldn't pitch on Wednesday.
Experts choose good.
Maybe that wouldn't be smart.
Joe Banner says Browns may get their wish of a wide receiver of Raquan Treadwell by because they traded down.
They need one. What's his name?
At 15.
He's never coming back.
Cleveland's receivers are
Josh Gordon.
Gabriel. They
Travis
are
Benjamin.
Heartline.
Benjamin.
Is he a free agent?
Yeah, but
He
he's.
signed him.
Are they signed? I don't think
I
he's.
don't think he signed yet. I thought he was looking at San Diego.
Jordan Ronan saying the Giants are going to take Eli Apple here.
Wow.
Over Vernon Hargraves?
That's a
mistake. I think Hargraves is a clear pick if you're going Warner.
Chelsea was searching for the perfect place for their wedding on Booking.com.
Man, these pictures of Larry Kelton are going viral on Twitter here. They're actually mixing pictures of Tunsil with all kinds of different other pictures. Like Jordans, Kim Kardashian.
I mean, you cannot go a sporting event without seeing a crying Jordan. It does not get old. I don't know. Call me whatever you want to call me, but I think it's hilarious.
So Leonard Floyd says that he wants to be the next DeMarcus Ware.
It's not a bad thing.
Which I say you need to gain about 40 pounds muscle.
Ware was playing about 265.
All right, so 25 pounds of muscle.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Ware was a little thin when he came out of Troy. Bill Parsons.
he wasn't 240. He's maybe 258. 250.
Yeah, he got 250.
52, 50.
For a 6-10 team that spent a lot of money, Ray can jam the defensive side of the ball with the 10th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft. The New York Giants select Eli Apple.
Oh, wow. God, that is so far the ugliest pick of this draft, I believe.
Yeah, I don't.
The guy with no life skills. The guy can't cook. Do you hear that report from the combine?
Like he can cook.
No, he can't cook. They said the guy has no life skills.
No, it's actually true. He can cook.
He says he can cook. He believes he can indeed cook.
No, he was the cook for the team.
They said there was a knock on Eli Apple was he has no quote-unquote life skills. The guy can't even cook. Look that story up. Eli, there's two Elis on the same team now.
The odds of that.
Not great. That is the third Buckeye off the board. Boom, boom, and boom. 3, 4, and 10. And that team wasn't even in the college football playoff. That's a shame. Those Urban Meyer teams are continually loaded. Those Florida teams when Tebow was there.
On a scale of 1 to 10, John, I was a 7, 1 apple in the Western Michigan State game. I was an 8 or 9 in under.
Part of the Gil, what's on your mind?
I thought another year at Ohio State, he could really improve his play.
Tough couple days.
This is the guy who had the line of
Indeed.
scrimmage. For the first 3 quarters of this down, let me put it this way. This guy is one of the best, is the best corner in this draft as far as patience at the line of scrimmage, as far as staying square, not called.
That seems like a bit of a worst sport ever, but
at the last quarter of the down, finishing on the football and making more plays with the ball in front of interception. That's the thing he's going to need to improve. But I know this too. Giants gave up 4,700 pass yards last year, which is atrocious. They need more defensive backs. They need more guys to cover. They need rush and coverage. They're trying to address that on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, he's a big corner, but he's a finesse corner. I'd like to see him improve his.
Tom McShay says the Giants should have drafted Sheldon Rankins, defensive lineman.
He's got to find the ball in the blind spot there. When the ball is in the air and you're in
And now
coverage,
I thought the Giants probably should have gone offensive line or Hargraves. But I guess
Are
that
you going
Tunsil's
with
not.
Eli Apple over Larry Tunsil, who was the best tackle and he smoked a little pot? I don't know. Was this a problem with him for his whole career that people knew about, or is this a one-time isolated incident?
Here's the interesting thing. You're talking about the Bucs getting Vernon Hargraves, remember? They can still get him now.
And pick up a pick.
He's going to be a penalty machine if he doesn't. Well, couple of notes. The Giants heart-wrenching. 5 games with the lead with 2 minutes to go. They lost last year. Now you know why they're holding up on the defensive side. And it's never happened before. 3 players from the same school in the top 10 picks of the draft. Ohio State has 3 of them now, with Harris joining his teammates Bosa and Elliott, who went 3.
Hargraves right here, I guess, huh?
He has picked Laramie Tunsil. An early slide.
Nah, I'm not really sure where Bucs are going.
What do we know?
Because
Well, this has been the story of the draft so far, it continues to be the story, and it's starting to.
So now we got Adam Schefter telling us what Larry Tunsil going, which if you're following on Twitter, you already know what he's going to say.
And teams are concerned about that video that surfaced
It's gotta be rough.
that showed so much smoking. There are at least 2 teams out there.
Then I've heard New Orleans at 12 has some interest in a quarterback, maybe.
Well, I heard an interesting scenario today. So Chris Quinones, who hosts the warm-up, gave me this scenario, that the Saints could trade Drew Brees because it's cap hit and draft a quarterback.
Well, you look at what's out there coming up. The teams that are on the board to make a pick. And
That's a radical thought. It'd be shocking, not probably be a smart business decision.
For the Saints.
Sure.
Major reach. I thought it's 10. You got to get the 6, 7 best players for the Giants threatened it. Here's Tunsil sliding because
Oh, I don't hate that suit, but Tunsil.
on the heels of a career where he didn't finish
Got
the
some
season.
pretty interesting garb on there.
All these guys get front loaded from their agents.
Draft day seeing that particular illustration of Leonard B. Tunsil, if in fact it was real, who knows? That's why teams in a push situation go away from Leonard B. Tunsil. We live in a class.
Vernon Hargraves.
Look what Johnny Manziel has been.
By the way,
to his work up here a couple of years ago. The whole first
your
round.
former partner, Mike G,
Things off the field.
says on Twitter, way too many Ohio State guys drafted in the first top 10. That conference is terrible.
It is a poor conference. Overrated.
Big Ten?
Overrated, but it was poor.
It's
I
crazy.
would say there's more bad teams in the ACC than there are in the Big Ten.
What was the quarterback stat in the Big Ten? First round pick for the Big Ten quarterback in how long? It's been like a long time. Like maybe Kerry Collins or something.
For what?
Like a quarterback from the Big Ten going in the first round. I could be wrong. I think that was a stat. Like there hasn't been one. But none are coming to mind right now.
Trading up right now to get Larry Tunsil. I don't see that happening with the issues we see. Yeah, this will be a guy. You got a guy that's.
Oh, here's the video.
You're gonna go up and get him, and here he is in the middle of coming up here in the middle of the first round.
Oh my goodness.
Catch up now with Tampa Bay. Remember they swapped with
But
Chicago.
like,
Oh, there's a crying.
Oh,
God, that's great. You have to watch this. Check it out.
With the 11th pick in the 2016 NFL draft.
It's a face swap from Snapchat.
Vernon Hargraves.
Yep. Okay,
there you go.
You Snapchatting this.
The best cornerback in the draft right there. The dude has exceptional coverage skills.
He's better than Ramsey.
Well, he's a better cover corner than Ramsey is. Ramsey's better, Ramsey's the best athlete on the defensive side of the ball. But Vernon Hargraves, his coverage skills are exceptional. There's very few receivers who are going to be able to outmaneuver him in the NFL. Maybe 3.
This guy's really good, man. He's legit.
Oh, here you go. Watch this one. I saw this play live. Just steps right in. He acts like he's not going to go after the ball, and then just like, boom, mine. And this play, he runs the receiver's routes sometimes. It's like on that play. The thing is, it's almost like he knows.
A lot of these D-back highlight reels, so much throws are just.
I have concerns about his speed. I have concerns about his competitiveness. When you bring up some of the plays here, you take a look at them. I'll point out some of them. They're going to jump off the screen after you. One of the first things I talk about here is we talk about competitiveness and his speed. I can't tell which one it is necessarily in this side of the situation. Here you have the situation where he's going to get taken across the field.
Boy Flanagan was out.
Wasn't he?
Yeah. He was going up to the war room. To the draft party. It's packed in there today. My gosh. I mean, it was like.
I know, I was there. Damn. I got there
I
like
got there really quick. Saints. This could be a big shakeup.
Could be, could be.
Could be Shaq Lawson here.
Maybe a bad pick. Their defense.
Their defense is terrible. Horrendous. Oh, what an awful week, man. Grandma just died today.
Oh, I'm sorry. So that was you were expecting that for the last couple of days or weeks. You're never ready to be ready for it.
So I was at the hospital till 2 in the morning last night.
And it happened this morning.
I guess she might still be. I mean, they basically are having her in hospice right now. These 4 wings is basically all I eat today. I'm like out of it. I was up till 2 in the morning last night. It's like in another world.
Sucks, man. So is she gone or is she?
I'm not 100% sure, but they said they see her.
Which helps make the camera so quiet. You don't miss a thing. Good night, kiddo. It's called active noise cancellation, and it's available in the new, meticulously crafted 2016 Sierra GMC.
So
This
that's
is the
basically
precision
like
of professional grade. Or get nearly 8,300 total value on specially equipped 2016 Sierra Crew Cab SLT models. GMC, we are professional grade.
Now it's in the hands of a bullpen, and out comes Papa John. It looks like he's taking this official pizza thing pretty seriously. For just $6.99 each, get 2 medium, 2-topping pizzas. Papa John's, the official pizza of Major League Baseball.
And I turn around and there's 3 Rouses.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't worry, Rob, you're covered.
State Farm agents are there whenever you need them. Sure, David Price has pitched in pretty huge spots, but he's never, ever done inside the Yankees.
G. Mark Gomez had another save today.
Sean Barr.
Sunday night baseball, Yankees, Red Sox, Sunday.
So at number 12, New Orleans. What did I do here? Here's what I'm gonna say. Mackenzie Alexander, cornerback from Clemson. That's my guess.
I go Clemson's Shaq.
Ooh.
Tonight on ESPN.
Dear Kim and David, here's a little something from our new granddaughter. Congratulations. Love, Sherry and Ron.
Dear David, please celebrate.
I just don't believe that this Bradford thing can continue to go on.
Welcome back to the 2016 NFL Draft presented by Courtyard. It's been a bit of a tense time for Larry Tunsil's crew, and that includes his head coach at Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze. During his time at Ole Miss, he's had some uncomfortable family situations. He's had some injuries. You've watched him navigate it. How has he?
Well, he's first of all, I believe in the young man and who he is, and that doesn't mean that mistakes have not happened. Some of his own doing, some not. But I know this, that the young man that somebody's getting ready to get.
Hugh Freeze, that's a great name.
Hard work,
Good
talented
coach,
kids that I've ever been around. And it's unfortunate the events of tonight, of course, but I assure you that that's not who he is. And can't wait to see who gets him. God has a way sometimes of putting us in a place in his timing, and it's not always the way we work it out, but Laramie can't wait to get his opportunity, and he'll make the most of it.
I've watched you offer comfort to Laramie throughout the night. What have you said?
Just the same thing. Look, this is not draft career. This is draft day. And what you do with your career after this is really what counts. And what you do with the platform you've been given from this point on is what's going to count. And you sometimes the things that we think are negative end up being blessings. This could be a great blessing for him, and that's the way he's got to look at it. He's handling it well, but it is difficult. You're so anxious for this moment, and so it is difficult. But we're excited to see where he's going to go here soon.
As a camp, did you see this picture? Have you guys been able
Take
to
us in.
Here we go. You say we both have 2 Clemson Tigers. I say Mackenzie Alexander. There it is.
A long time ago, and how it came out today was a very. I don't.
Who leaked that today? Like
Who hacked his account?
He doesn't deny he owned it.
That is a
But
shame,
certainly
man.
was not recent.
We appreciate your time, and
Thank you so much.
and we wish the best of luck to all of your guys.
Yeah.
Awful.
Tonight from all
Have that
this.
out.
Saints have been on the clock.
I mean,
It's costing you money.
This guy's a kid.
Very good, Susie. Thank you, Coach Freeze.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Putting it in perspective with the
Allowed 45 passing touchdowns last season, which is in fact an NFL record.
They gave up yards and almost had record pace last year.
Their defense was heinous. Awful.
Oh,
my God.
Here with a 12 pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Sheldon Rankins,
Wow.
defensive end, Louisville.
What's with the defensive end? But not the one that I believed.
Being interior lineman for the Saints who can use him anywhere on that side of the ball. You know what they do on offense. But now, he was a fast riser here the last week or two. I think the last 2 years, but when you look at the total, the 8 sacks, 13
Sheldon Rankins.
Well, they do need defensive help.
That's what we were saying.
The last Louisville player in the first round, I believe, was Marcus Smith.
Actually, wasn't Teddy Bridgewater? He was drafted as the last pick when the Vikings traded up, wasn't he?
Yeah, was it the same year?
Nah. That was next year, I thought. I'll double check.
Bridgewater was 2014.
And Bridgewater was
Yeah, 14.
14.
And
Smith
Smith
was
was 14.
14.
They were the same year.
Okay.
Because this was year Zach Barton. Yeah, it was 14.
They don't have anybody on the defensive line. And when you're a defense that's allowed 4.9 yards for rush last season, it was worse in the NFL. You've got to do something, and you got to start in the interior. And this is a guy who really is a 3-down player. He'll be able to play against the run. He'll be able to hold the point of attack there. And at the Senior Bowl, he put on the show. He has the most advanced hand technique and pass rushing technique and potential of all the interior players in this draft. There was no way that he'd go any other place but besides defense to start up front. Well, in the NFL, the 3 technique is the man that lines up.
Found a tweet from Eli Apple from 2012. So it must suck to be a Giants fan today. Okay, embarrassing.
Poor. He went to Eastern.
His broad jump, his
Oh.
this man can run. He's a 2-time captain.
Oh.
He's something the Saints and defensive coordinator.
Eli Apple, that's looking at this so far. You got the 2 quarterbacks standard. Right. First, a little bit of a shocker. That's San Diego. So then you go to Dallas, and you think Jalen Ramsey is a home run, but the thought of Elliott's there. They decided to go with the running back, Ezekiel Elliott. No brainer for Jacksonville to get Ramsey.
Interesting.
You think this is
But good.
Here's where you think maybe Tunsil. And then the whole thing with the video comes out, so they go with
Ronnie
presumably
Stanley,
their number 2 more safe pick. Ronnie
backup
Stanley.
singer for Luther Vandross.
Yep. You made the comment. You say, what's San Francisco doing? Could it be Paxton Lynch? Where are they going? They could have gone on any of those guys. They go with the Oregon guy, naturally, Chip Kelly. First trade of the draft, Tennessee comes in, swaps with Cleveland. And again, is it Tunsil? They could have taken him at 1. They move up to get him. No. They go with Jack Conklin, the other tackles. Now 2 tackles off the board.
The interesting thing about Tennessee with Conklin is that Conklin is the most aggressive offensive lineman in this draft. So you know that in a scheme where you have a guy like Mariota who scrambles around, you need an alignment like that.
Yep.
Boyd, interesting pick because Chicago moved up. Boyd is one of those guys who probably could have been picked later in the draft, but I think his draft stock was rising, his other guys were dropping.
So they say he's a great pass rusher. Chicago jumps to New York to get Leonard Floyd. And then New York's sitting there, again, another spot where you think could just be Tunsil. And they go with a cornerback, but they don't go with Vernon Hargreaves. It's pretty much a consensus, number one. They go with Eli Apple from Ohio State. To me, that's a little bit of a stretch there.
You know, in hindsight, Mike, I should have asked him 5 questions, Apple or Hargreaves.
So then after Apple goes, Tampa Bay, who traded back, jumps on Vernon Hargreaves, great pick there. New Orleans goes to the interior defensive lineman, Sheldon Rankins. New Orleans plays sort of a multiple front, so Rankins can kind of slide.
Remember, they got a new defensive coordinator this year as well.
Yep, they can slide inside and out. Rankins can. And
the other thing about Rankins
they need
is
help
that
on defense,
he has very good football instincts. He's very instinctive with his play. So that's very helpful when you have a team that's bad on defense. Because you need guys who just have natural ability to know what they're doing. Miami.
What does Miami do here?
Well, they're the ones who traded down. Remember, they got Byron Maxwell and Kiko Alonso.
Did they go? They picked Devontae Parker last year or 2 years ago, right? He hasn't been much of a factor at wide receiver. So
awful. Another Louisville.
That might have been that same year, 2014. So where do they go? Is it pass rush? One of their strengths and one of their money is tied up is in that defensive line. So what do they do with Cameron Wake and Ndamukong Suh? What do they do here? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say
you can take a corner.
I think Carl Joseph from West Virginia.
Safety.
Well, they could go Shaq Boston. They need defensive linemen.
Yep, there's Joseph sneaking into the best available there. I wouldn't be shocked if Miami took him.
I think Joseph.
West Virginia guy.
They have Jock Dotson as the top receiver in the draft.
Josh Doxson, he's really good.
I like Corey Coleman better than Dotson.
Nah, I go Doxson over Coleman.
All right, Miami Dolphins. Mike Tannenbaum, Adam Gase. What do you do with this pick?
Corner.
There it is.
Boom.
Larry Tunsil goes 13th to the Dolphins. So his slide is over. Good for him.
Yep.
And now he can go hang out in South Region.
Everything happens for a reason, right, guys?
Gotta go that way. Crazy to me. A guy gets that video and people are like,
I mean, I didn't see him. The latest I saw him going for the last couple weeks was 6th.
Right.
He was the ball. Well, a lot of it was here.
Think about it this way. Can I just go over this narrative quick? So, in the last several weeks, Miami now has acquired an overpaid quarterback, a very financially reasonable linebacker, and a guy who should have been the number 1 overall pick. Not a bad 6 weeks.
No.
For the Miami Dolphins.
So they got to go down the stairs now to come up to the room? Is that how it works? I always thought it was like
it was like next door, yeah.
I thought it was down.
I thought it was on the side.
And in this draft guide, gentleman's on the front page.
I'm waiting for them to show you the video footage because I love the way this guy blocks.
Yeah, great pass protector, very athletic.
The way he blocks is just like remember those you might remember Mike Gill. Remember years ago the old Gail Goodrich how to play basketball videos used to go on VHS?
vaguely.
Okay, well, that's how I learned to play basketball. But anyway, like you can make a video like what Gail Goodrich did with the basketball of Larry Tunsil blocking and just show it to kids.
Oakland, Miles Jack. They've got some linebackers there.
They got some linebackers, but
This could be a
Khalil Mack.
they signed what's his name this offseason?
Miles Jack, Alden Smith,
Bruce
Irvin.
Bruce Irvin.
I was gonna say they might go Joseph here. From West Virginia.
William Jackson.
Obviously, you look at the quickness, the tremendous
Corner.
and the balance and the
Oakland, I think they're gonna go with Miles Jack.
placement's very good.
If they do, that'll be very interesting.
As a run blocker, I thought he's got a fire
Someone
out
asked an
there.
interesting question to me. They said, how do they have the jerseys ready made? And I believe they have a screen printer right there with all the names, right? They just kind of steam it on and steam it on real quick.
The Phillies are trying to tank.
Yeah, they tried to take last year. They already got the first overall pick, right?
Because he did drop. What could have been the third pick overall. At one point in time, let's look at go number 1 at Tennessee.
And that's the other thing. Thompson got touchdown passes.
Yeah, I saw that. I was in Oklahoma State, right?
Yep.
It's going to have a lot to do with Laramie Tunsil's performance, John. Hey, Tannehill's been sacked
13 picks down.
He's been sacked 20 times.
Nothing really too crazy so far. What was the most exciting pick? Joey Bosa? Maybe Zeke Elliott? Jack? I don't know. Nothing really too much.
I mean,
Eli Apple was a little shocking. Other than that,
Eli Apple was a little shocking. I was surprised Bosa went to San Diego.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not insane. Well, Leonard Floyd at Tampa is interesting. I wasn't shocking, but interesting.
Yeah, I agree. So the most interesting picks to me, really everything seems to kind of be on the line. I mean, I guess the whole story with the tackles here and him sliding to 13, you would think that it would be more like Tunsil goes here, Stanley goes to maybe Tennessee, and Conklin
going to
goes
the Giants.
and it'll swap around.
I think Conklin was there. The Giants would take him.
And it might have. But if you're going to take Conklin, is the smoking weed thing that much of a big deal to you that you go with a corner rather than a tackle and you
Here's the thing.
really need help?
If you go back to what Andrew Brandt said on Twitter earlier, apparently the Ravens were the ones that took him off their board. They were the first ones to do it. And when teams talked to the Ravens about possibly trading up, they told them, listen, Tunsil's off our board. So they were telling people, they were starting the red flag. Because the executive in the Ravens organization is a high-powered lawyer. He thought that was
here. This is interesting.
Laramie, just a matter of weeks ago, this whole thing seemed like a slam dunk. You were considered a #1 overall pick. What has this draft journey been like for you?
It's been exciting, man. Like I said, it's a blessing just to be a part of the NFL, just to be a part of the Miami Dolphins organization, man. I'm happy to be here.
You've had twists and turns through life. You've had twists and turns at college. You had twists and turns tonight. How did the events of tonight make you feel?
Man, like I said, I'm blessed just to be here. Like you go through.
Not giving you much.
It's what you overcome.
Got that shut up.
Overcome this adversity.
Standard
So
answer.
everybody, what I'm about.
You know, we talked to your agent, Jimmy Sexton.
Well, quick by
We talked about your Twitter account being
By the way.
Oh, there goes Susie, probing a little bit.
Richie Sexton,
Did you see this
the
picture?
agent
Picture
for
your-
Tunsil,
Like I said, I'm not worried
it's
about
friends
it.
with Mike Tannenbaum, and you smoke together.
We're trying to find out who did it. But like I said, I'm blessed just to be here in the NFL. I'm blessed just to be a part of my organization.
Chip Kelly,
But
I'm blessed.
so Chip Kelly gets a guy from Oregon. Miami's head executive is friends with the agent for Tunsil.
makes sense. So there's some sort of connection. Oakland, Tennessee, Oakland, Cleveland, Detroit.
Your old team, John.
And we're halfway home.
The Oakland Raiders, who might be moving to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I heard that. Can you imagine that stadium?
I think that would be awesome.
We're not going to do it here.
So the Raiders' last first round picks: Rolando McClain, Darius Hayward-Bay, Darren McFadden, Marcus Russell, Michael Huff. Yuck.
Davis Murray can run the football.
But that was before the current regime, so they've done a lot better
Still,
recently.
yeah.
Guys like Amari Cooper and Derek Carr.
Derek Carr was second. Khalil Mack was the first that year. That's
Yeah,
pretty
you gotta
good
give
one
him
too.
credit.
Oh yeah, sure. But look at those ones. It's no good.
You would think with some young talent that made some strides.
Darren McFadden's been okay in his career, but never fourth pick.
No.
Not living up to that.
You know, they were a team
No.
that they were
Always hurt.
season and a half
When
ago.
Oakland just get hit in the back foot every time.
Here we go.
Miles Jack.
I don't know.
Jackson the Fed.
With the 14th pick
I don't know.
in the 2016
Be a corner.
NFL draft, the Oakland Raiders select Carl Joseph.
Oh, who said that earlier? You?
I said him at 13.
West
I said-
Virginia.
WVU.
He's the best.
He was on a
coverage
hey
safety.
rookie, welcome to the NFL. Hey rookie, welcome to the
Best
NFL.
coverage safety
Yeah.
in the draft.
Yeah, I saw him play. This is the game I saw him play against Oklahoma. They got smoked this game, but he
Yes. Look how he covers. Like, he just goes and catches the ball at the top. Peak athlete. Look at that.
And I'll tell you what, when you're talking about the running game,
I mean, with the way he intercepts the ball,
there is nobody that absolutely delivers the hammer like
Yeah, he's a good player.
I mean, he is all over the field. He is
I like it for the Raiders. Keep improving that defense. Now you got your coverage safety, you got your blitzing linebackers. You just keep adding and adding and adding.
I mean, they got a real chance at that division. With Peyton Manning being gone, the
I would
Broncos.
argue that Les Gilling is back. I say the Raiders are the best quarterback in the division.
So you say you got Derek Carr or
Alex
you got Alex Smith,
Mark
Phillip
Sanchez.
Rivers, and Mark Sanchez.
That's a
Nah, you can't, that's a slight. You can't say Derek Carr is better than Phillip Rivers. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Oh, that was the hit I remember. He popped. I think that's Sterling Shepard too.
Yeah, it's
Popped him.
that broke his spleen.
That quarterback gave him hospital ball there.
Excellent pick by my Raiders. It's Raiders.
WVU being represented.
Now, that might be the best player to come out of WVU.
Pac-12.
You know,
Missouri Valley.
I think he's a better
Big Ten
player
player
than
than
Geno.
ACC.
I
Independent.
think he'll be better than Reserve.
Big Ten. SEC. Big Ten.
Davon, if he gets in a better offense, might play better.
This is how precision
That's a huge to the West Virginia guys.
That would be
So I was trying to think of
frequency.
that'll be the first Big 12 selection in the first round.
Good night, kiddo.
Tavon. Yeah, what's his name's on the same team? Did he get shot in the head?
Oh, what, Stephen Bailey?
Stephen Bailey.
The precision of professional grade.
Hit
nearly 8,300 total value on especially
Who else?
against 2016 Sierra Crew Cab SLT.
They had a little lull there.
GMC.
When I was in school, we had a lot. Beck was first round.
When you shop at DXL.
Emo Zeraway, Bolger,
This is how you feel. All the
his
brands you
defensive
love.
backs.
I'm just saying in the last few years.
Yeah, no, I'm saying last few years they had
You're looking good. This is how you'll look when you
Geno.
shop at DXL.
Stephen Bailey,
But this
Tavon Austin,
is how you'll feel.
Bruce
All the
Irvin.
brands you love. Waist size 38 and up.
I mean, to me, the only guy you said that I think of as like,
You're looking good.
I love the West Virginia teams, and it was Stevie Slayton.
well, yeah,
The old Big East when they used to go against Rutgers, and Rutgers had like Ray Rice, Teal, Kenny Britt, and all them. That was those. I remember there was a game. It was in Morgantown. It was for the Big East championship, and Rutgers had to win, and they would have went to the Fiesta Bowl. They lost. And Rutgers, they went to triple overtime in Morgantown in the snow against Pat White.
was that one with Pat White like
50-48.
jumped over like three guys in the end zone?
I forget. It was in the snow, and I remember they were playing country roads, and Rutgers was like Shiano. They were walking off crying and stuff.
Say yes to a medium one topping pizza. Yes
Now
to
that program.
Yes to new stuffed garlic knots.
But I hope this guy from Ohio State
Please
can turn
say
it around.
yes to our first ever $5 flavor menu. Only at Pizza Hut.
I had a limit. A little motor blocker. The most powerful Old Spice antiperspirant in the world. I found a new one. At 1,207 miles per hour. That seems to be.
When you have a digital notebook to capture investing ideas that instantly gives you
Oh,
stock
why didn't you
prices,
pay attention?
earnings, and dividends.
You got the string on?
An equity summary score that consolidates the stock ratings of top analysts into a single score. And $7.95 online US equity trades, lower than TD Ameritrade, Schwab, and E-Trade. You realize the smartest investing idea isn't just what you invest in, but who you invest with.
Welcome back, everybody.
So we got Cleveland now, who's been traded down, what, 3 times?
Yeah.
By courtyard. The
So where's Cleveland going here? I mean, they've only traded down and gotten about, I think they got about 14 picks this draft, like 13 next year now.
Tennessee took off with us, you know, they gave up the 6, but Cleveland got the 3.
My friend, she was a teacher for Eli Apple.
Yeah.
I said, she sent me a picture of him with her and him. Said, He's a Giant. Sugar, I'm still proud. I'm not a Giant fan, but I'm an Apple fan. I will have a jersey. This is Cleveland could use just about anything.
So think about it
What
this
about
way.
the
Paxton
Treadwell?
Lynch,
They need receivers bad.
Paxton Lynch, Laquan Treadwell.
Could go Paxton Lynch here.
I think they're going to get Doxson and Treadwell. Maybe receivers.
I mean, receiver would make sense.
At this point, we're really just we're throwing names out there.
I really have no
I think
idea
we've
what
gotten
Cleveland's plan
one
is.
right in the last. I think you called Floyd, and that was about what we got right. And we call Hargraves too.
I called Joseph. I threw Joseph's name out there.
West Virginia has 4 first-round picks in the last 5 drafts.
Joseph here, he goes here.
Who are they?
They have a ton of picks. They have 12.
And I know Tavon Austin. I know Bruce Irvin. But I don't know
This is the year that they go in a tough division. And the
By the way, Carl Joseph is the second West Virginia defensive back taken in the first round in the common draft era. Adam Jones went 6th overall in 2015.
With the 15th pick in the 2016
Ryan Jordan,
NFL draft, the Cleveland
This
Browns
guy's about to become one.
select Corey Coleman, wide receiver.
Wow.
Right on the receiver, it's not Treadwell or Doxson.
I think Coleman
Right, Cleveland.
is better than Dawson.
7 fast, I'll tell you, 5'10",
You're not thrilled with Cleveland's pick.
194 pounds. This kid can fly.
Kevin
He's a
White
very
last year.
competitive football player.
Oh, yeah, he was injured, though.
Corey Coleman.
Pretty injured.
2013,
Offense, which is the bubble screen.
Tavon Austin. 2012, Bruce Irvin. This year.
Detroit. Detroit.
Pat White was a 2nd-round pick.
Ugh. That's heinous.
He called my buddy yesterday for insurance. He did.
Wow.
Steve Slayton in the 3rd round.
Yep. Played for the Texans.
Chris Henry, 3rd rounder, deceased. Mark Bolger, 6th rounder.
Yeah, Harold did. Kurt Warner.
These guys all played when I was there.
With him, it's like, how many times is he just wide open in Baylor's offense?
Because he's so fast.
No, because it's what Baylor's offense does. They score 60 points a game.
Wow.
Look at it. He just like
Ran 40 and a half inch vertical, extremely talented, loose athlete. He doesn't run an array of routes.
I believe this is
He can
important.
win the 50-50 balls. He gives Cleveland
must be.
a potential go-to receiver. Last year they brought in Dwayne Bowe. He did not pan out. Travis Benjamin left for San Diego. You need a receiver that you can feature. This man has the talent, and I'm sure Hugh Jackson can't wait to develop him in his offense. Yeah, there's no question. Look, you got to understand who the head coach is. Look what he had to work with when he took the Cincinnati Bengals. And then when you look at the fact that they played in the division with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's got one of the most high-flying
where'd you put it?
offenses in the Football League. And then you lose, and you
Oh,
have
you
a
actually
guy
just
like
send the
Travis
free throws
Benjamin,
out?
and you have no electricity outside the number.
Well,
You have none.
if you were searching for ice, where would be the first place you should look?
Actually, I just thought of it because you were shooting on
He's
ice.
already talked about it.
I
He
think
doesn't
I
know
know.
the games, the NFL game from scratch because he's really coming from no.
Well, normally,
as far as he's
where would be the first place you would look?
Well, I mean, I know we had like an ice maker or something on the outside of the door. I
Yeah,
really
the quarterback
did.
team was basically a glorified expansion team. That's what the Cleveland Browns are. They could have gone two the directions in terms of need. They got tons of needs on both sides of the ball. So you don't say, well, they should have taken a lineman, they could have taken anybody. And if Corey Coleman was the best player on the board, then you take him. I personally like Josh Dotson from TCU. I think he is the best, most polished receiver in this draft.
Cleveland, look, we said they get 12, but they get 7 now with this trade, if I'm not mistaken, the first 100. So this is, we're going to hear them tonight and certainly tomorrow night a lot. So the Cleveland Browns have a chance to completely make over their roster. And to your point, Mel, expansion team asked in a division where, Pittsburgh,
I believe those are plugs.
Cincinnati, who won it, Baltimore will be back. There's a team that why not turn it
Yep.
over? And they're doing it with Hugh Jackson. So now the Detroit Lions
Yeah, see more.
are on the clock. The Lions. Jim Caldwell, the team had a good second half, so he was retained.
I believe those are plugs.
7-9. They finished 6-2 last year. They've lost to retirement the great Calvin Johnson, Megatron. And so they did sign Marvin Jones. They got him from the Bengals. But
This has to be defense.
Several directions.
Who knows? They did take
What do we think they're doing?
three receivers in 4 years once.
I got to get an offensive lineman and help Matt stay.
And that McMullen, he's up there at the NovaCare.
Lions. Maybe
Lions on the board.
what's that guy from Ohio State? Decker?
Yep.
You believe it'll be an offensive
This could
line?
be a Kevin Dodd pick right here, another Clemson gentleman.
Yep.
Or Shaq Lawson.
Lawson's
Shaq
there, so
Lawson,
both
he's
of
still
you.
on the board.
Mackenzie Alexander, all three Clemson defenders are there.
The Detroit Lions select Taylor Decker.
He's got two.
This Josh is on the board. Ah, what a day, what a day, what a day.
Just another example of probably why I because I watch way too much college football.
This isn't so much college football, it's just matching up.
So here's the thing about Taylor Decker.
Who's what and where.
Taylor Decker can also play guard. He played at Ohio State. So if they wanted to play him at guard and start his career, then move him out to outside tackle if he could. That's him playing guard. Now he plays tackle.
Bang.
He's got very fluid feet for a tackle.
You believe those feet are fluid.
Taylor Decker. Let's see where he's ranked. Putting this on fourth tackle. So there's Tunsil, Stanley, Conklin, Decker, and the next on the board is Jason Spriggs from IU. We should see another tackle in the first round, but you never know if someone swing it. Oh, by the way, that's the fourth guy, yeah? Halfway through, what do we think?
That's the fourth Buckeye.
Yeah.
Top 16.
You know what's funny? When
25% of the picks.
when Ezekiel Elliott was at NFL Live, he actually drafted these four guys in this order. He had Taylor Decker going number 1, Joey Bosa going number 2. He had himself going 3, and Eli Apple going 4. So I think Ezekiel Elliott deserves some credit for knowing that at least 4 guys were going to go in the first round.
Yeah, look at all these WVU guys. Remember, they had Aaron Beasley, John Browning.
He's a good quarterback.
You guys all played when I was there. John Browning, Troy Barber, Lovett Purnell. He was nice little tight end, safety plan. Mike Logan, Canute Curtis, Henry Slay, Charles Fisher, John Thornton, Solomon Page. He was a Cowboy.
Yeah.
Gary Stills, Amos Zaraway, Anthony Beck, Jerry Porter, Barrett Green. Used to hang out with Barrett Green. Nice guy.
Did you say what quarter?
Jerry.
The wide receiver?
Yeah.
They're the Ravens, right?
Yeah. Mark Bolger. Quincy Wilson, remember him? Pac-Man Jones, Christian Henry, Rasheed Marshall, Steve Slayton, Owen Schmidt, Ryan Mundy, Pat White, Pat McAfee, JT Thomas, Bruce Irvin, Najee Good, Tavon Austin, Geno Smith, Stedman Bailey, Charles Sims, running back, Kevin White,
Charles
Ezekiel
Sims
Elliott, player number 21.
Harvey got a nice little career for himself.
21.
All right, guys. Atlanta Falcons on the clock here.
Joseph Randall's number last year, so hopefully.
Now, this is the part of the draft where Zach said about an hour ago that this is where things get very.
Maybe a couple more picks. I'm going to say like here to 21, 26 maybe, because KC could possibly take the QB. Denver certainly could use one. Arizona, Carson Palmer.
Could be another Ohio State guy here.
Which one?
Lee.
Yep, the linebacker. I've seen Lee to Atlanta a lot.
Yeah,
That means it
and
won't happen.
Atlanta's a shitbag defense. Excuse me.
And they have a defense-minded coach.
Team needs for Atlanta linebacker stands right there.
Their defense is extremely poor.
That's what the theme of
They were like, what, 8-0 last year or something, and I was like, this team stinks.
Well, actually,
2 years ago.
that was this year because they started out 6-0, and Mike Gill from week 1 on who's in, who's out, picked the Panthers every week. And John McMullen kept saying, no, it's the Falcons. It's the Falcons. And Mike Hill's like, I do not believe in Atlanta. I can't.
Can't do it.
Mike Hill actually went on, I think it was like week 5. He says, unless the Falcons go 12-0, I cannot ever pick them.
10 nuggets for just $1.49.
It's another guy.
Oh, yeah. So they did. They started off 5-0. So they beat the Eagles. They beat the Giants, comeback they had.
Right.
They beat a Romo-less Cowboys and a Des-less Cowboys. They beat the Houston Texans. And then they beat the Redskins. So they went 4-0 against Tennessee and the Texans. And the Redskins was in overtime. Fraudulent.
Great.
Yeah, and their coach was a defensive
Of course, they
guy.
could also play Shaq Lawson, too.
You've been saying that. If me and Gil
And Lawson's been on the board
for
for quite some time.
Let me ask this question. Why do you think Shaq Lawson's dropped it? Do you think he just paid other teams other players? Or do you think people think he's a little overrated?
Let's not look into what taking an exterior pass rusher with us. Leonard Floyd, he's more of an outside linebacker. Lawson's going to have his hand on the ground probably more. And this guy's interior. So where's the pass rusher? Buckner's he's more inside too.
Well, Buckner's more versatile.
Yeah. So where's a pass
I think
rusher?
he's more of a. I think Shaq Lawson is more of a run stopper.
Yeah, but he can rush. He can rush with his hand down on a four-man front.
Right,
Like there's haven't been any of those guys yet, so maybe just nobody really at this point.
I don't know. I don't view him as like a sack guy.
I kind of know what Gil said earlier about Devon Lake.
With this team, linebacker.
With the in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Keanu Neal.
Oh, that's poor. A safety from Florida.
Wow.
Yeah, this guy was in the 3rd and 2nd. He's going for that R word.
I can't get behind that.
I can't get behind that.
This is my biggest reach of the draft so far.
Yep. That's worse than Eli Apple.
Here's what I don't like about this pick.
Everything.
There were 2 games
This
this
guy's
year.
a hitter, but he's not great.
There were 2 games in this I saw this year. One was against Georgia, and one was against South Carolina.
Never seen him play against Ole Miss.
I saw that game, but I'm not talking about those games.
Looks like a linebacker. He's built like a linebacker.
Well, he's built like Cam Chancellor. But the problem is that his coverage skills are mediocre.
Oh,
Yeah, he can pop. No
Jeremy
doubt.
Cash right there.
Cash is better.
Yeah, Florida destroyed Ole Miss this year. Ole Miss was number 3. And this
Right.
is like
Neal is poor in coverage.
that's
This is like that's
a
the best.
terrible throw.
Like the only reason he got that was deflected.
A lot of these
Against Georgia and South Carolina. This is Neal going backwards. He's going and he trips on himself. He goes to the ground. And this is me watching at home. Like, did I just see that? Did I just see an SEC safety trip over his own feet?
17th overall.
That's what I
I don't think anybody saw it. What is more like picking an entire tournament right in the NCAA tournament or picking an entire first round? I think picking a tournament would be easier.
I think one of them easier too, yeah.
No way.
Just
Like
like
31 teams.
Factoring in trades and stuff, there's no way.
the odds of getting a
I was out here. This is where I
same.
I accident at number 3.
I think, well, still, there's only 31 things you gotta get right here. There you gotta get 65.
Yeah, but at least in the tournament, you know, like all the 6.
Like I'll give you 31 tournament basketball games. First 31.
First 31.
That'd be way easier.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if you factor in the 16. You get 4 easy ones right there.
Yeah.
16
Right.
Well, okay, so
Now that
that's like the
Tunsil
same
had
as
his Instagram account hacked. Twitter. No, his Instagram.
Well, Instagram bid.
According to TMZ Sports.
Ryan Gritson spent 30 minutes on the phone with Miles Jack, and yet what he said wasn't enough to convince him. So he's still sitting out there at a time when many thought he'd be off, but that knee injury that he suffered, meniscus, that could require
Come on, Tunsil. Having a tough night.
Still has him sitting on the board, and so one of the top talents in this year's draft still is available. A medical question mark, but the talent is off the board.
Katie
Does
Nolan.
he keep sliding, or is it soon, fellas? What do you think? I think it's soon. I think they're going to.
Mike Tirico is going to call Thursday Night Football with Chris Collinsworth.
Here in the late 20s.
Yeah, I read that.
They're going to start thinking about, hey, should we get ahead and move up and try and take a guy like this? Is the risk worth the reward here with a player like this? Because you don't know. You don't know how long he's going to last. But I'll tell you, you don't want to be the teams that pass on him and Miles Jack becomes everything that most people in the NFL think he could become. So you're starting again, you're weighing that this versus reward profile with him, and I'm sure the teams down there are doing that right now.
Well, the Indianapolis Colts are on the board, 8-8. Of course, they played a lot of games on Andrew Luck last year, which is part of the reason why they sat the playoffs.
Wow. All right, Colts.
How do you scout user?
Oh, it's
With the 18th
Insufferable.
the 2016 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Ryan Kelly, center,
That's all right a
Alabama.
couple times.
All right, that's interesting.
That's safe, I guess.
That's a
Definitely a safe bet.
Can he play center in both yards? He can go. That versatility is a big plus. Thought he was going to go right in this general area. Indianapolis, you thought maybe Taylor Decker. If he were there with Decker gone, you go to Ryan Kelly. He's a guy, you look about what he can mean to Andrew Luck. Outstanding actor.
Wow. It was in the center.
Their offensive line is terrible.
When he was out, they got hurt against Memphis.
He's also a leader. He gets off the
Struggle. He's a leader. He's an anchor. Great technique, footwork. He can anchor. Everything's in place for Ryan Kelly.
Why do I talk? No, Trevor, just gonna say whatever.
This is a huge pick. Andrew Luck needs a center. That position has been
Buffalo could go Paxton Lynch right here.
This man has
They like
an 80
Tyrod.
wingspan.
They
He
don't
has
go Paxton Lynch.
position versatility, all of that. But he can.
I heard
He's
today I heard
smart.
Tim
He's
Beachy
a
with
great
Rex Ryan likes those
communicator.
types of guys.
He can handle
Talented
a
rushers.
tackle in one-on-one pass protection.
Off
I've seen him
field
make
stuff,
some
though.
incredible reach blocks. The running back ran for
Oh my God, I'm
how many yards? 2,000 yards. A lot of it because of Ryan Kelly, the center. And the Indianapolis Colts got a lot better with this select 4.0, John, in a master's program. Incredibly smart kid.
He could be a Shaq Lawson, too.
The ability to
Said
play
Shaq
Wait,
defense.
no, that makes
Well, he
sense
keeps
though.
falling. I mean,
No, think about it.
Eventually you're gonna
Rex
be right.
Ryan, Bob's Clemson. He went to a lot of Clemson games this year. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, it's three Clemson guys that are still out there.
What I'm saying is that I think he actually had a Shaq Lawson jersey earlier.
I think it's just a very fundamental.
Robert
sound, solid
Kendici,
pick.
defensive tackle. Ole Miss. God, Kendici.
So the Indianapolis Colts amidst much
Smoking weed,
turmoil,
falling
maybe.
off the balcony, getting in fights.
They're all back. Andrew Luck will be back. That half back for one game, too.
Ian Rappaport, the Bills will strongly consider Paxton Lynch at 19. This was the sweet spot for him. Stay tuned. George Sedano. Rex is going to take Miles Jack here, isn't he?
Ooh. Keep forgetting about Miles Jack.
Michael Silver says the Colts were considering Miles Jack, but they decided to go elsewhere after a phone conversation with him earlier today.
I found a new one. 1,207 miles per hour. That seems to be.
Right when you start to get in the groove in this draft, it ends on you.
I love
Yep.
I
I remember last year I was taking a little while between picks, and I've been on my game this time.
When is the
What
last
up?
time you've had a salad?
Listen, we know one thing.
The new carb jerky.
Jack's got better handwriting
It's
than I
day after Thanksgiving.
I think that's good. I guess about yours. Yours is not bad. That's
You,
pretty
I think you forget our fantasy football draft.
Systems can help
I'm
Oh,
losing.
yeah.
I'm losing 0-9-1 in my fantasy baseball.
change.
0-9-1.
He's got 9 of the categories, and we're tied in one. I'm not winning any of them. You lose like an 0-9 week, your season could be down for the count.
Really?
Mean
The way your thing's set up?
for the most part.
Jason Lockenford says, I'm thinking Shaq Lawson to the Bills,
You know what?
but there's other defensive players here too, like Reed, Spence, and Robinson.
Education. So I'm confident.
Apparently Lockenford thinks no matter what, it's going to be a defensive player.
Okay. Trisha, you need any luck?
You ever see his commercials? Where
Nice wordplay, by the way. My name's Luck. Thanks, Sully. I got it.
You don't even work on this floor.
You don't work on this floor.
TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Manny Machado has 5 ribbies tonight.
Great thing about it
That's not helping
is
me.
you can treat it like an old truck. Which is exactly why you got a truck.
I'm gonna eat that tennis.
It's not old. It's broken down.
Yeah, being a
So
third
keep it running longer, stronger, with quality parts and a whole lot of that know-how.
He's like,
That's
I think I've eaten a third of the bucket by myself. Actually, I had a couple of those things earlier.
Those are my favorite.
Here's a little something to say welcome to Boston. They're one of us now.
I'm more of a wing guy.
Grandmas, Debbie and Bill.
The only problem with wings are you gotta stop what you're doing to actually eat them.
Dear Jenny, stay
I'm
strong.
kind of like all over Twitter here.
Twitter makes this kind of stuff great.
That Jake Arrieta got yet another win.
NFLshop.com.
That's pretty good, huh?
He's not helping my fantasy team. My pitching's really good, but my offense stinks.
In Chicago, the number 19 selection. The Buffalo Bills. Is this the year? They've not been in the playoffs this century. 1999
I went to a game
is the last
up
time.
there this year. Dallas was like 4-11, and the Bills were like 5-10. And it was insane. They go hard up there, man. It was pouring rain, snow too.
Jack Lawson.
Finally!
Good job, Bill.
But they're saying the last 7 picks, he is finally correct.
Actually, Sammy Watkins being one of them, but it actually makes some sense because there's Rex at the podium with a Clemson helmet. Why? Because his son
Yes, does like it.
plays for Clemson. His son Seth.
Now we go to the Jets. They could go Paxton Lynch. We're right here.
Part of the reason, of course, a lot of the Clemson
Will they?
players were.
Well, Fitzpatrick said he would rather retire than play for the Jets.
You know, it's a team that played in the national championship game. Now, Jack Lawson, surprising lasted till 19. A little bit, but I think the shoulder was the concern. But
Do I believe him? Sure. He's a highly educated man. Doesn't need to play this game any longer.
Funny joke I just heard. The Giants now have 2 guys named Eli on the team that both specialize in interceptions.
It's funny because it's true.
Tried to play against Alabama and 2 sacks in that game. So I like the versatility, I like the effort, and obviously coming back. I didn't think he'd play that game. If he did play,
I would say probably 25% of Eli Manning's interceptions are literally because his team has been so bad they can't throw the ball.
He brings a lot to the table. I think it's a nice pick. But that shoulder issue
It's always a variable.
become a factor this season. But once it's solved, there was not a medical concern on, will it be recurring?
Always a variable.
You're just going to have to live with it without a recurring problem. In October or something, right?
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see just how long he's
Maybe
in.
the quarterback.
Given his injury situation right now, whether or not he needs to have anything fixed or anything cleaned up as they move through the season here. I know this
Now,
is.
we had Lee Steinberg on this.
He has 1 year of production.
This was one of the teams that
This past year.
he wouldn't say, but he said in this range is where he was expecting Paxton Lynch to go.
What exactly makes this guy tick? Because he's well connected
He
down
didn't
there.
say the Jets,
But I'll tell you what,
but he
we're a
said
team
in
that
this
right now
range of picks.
some more pass rush. They had 54 prior to Rex getting there, had 21 last year. They're going to really be counting on this guy to coach.
Wow.
It's going to be all on Rex Ryan to get it out of him, not just 1 year, but consistently. Oh, he led the nation in tackles for loss. He had 1 year of great production. But when I watched him play against Ronnie Stanley out of Notre Dame,
Tonsel
they could have
Instagram pictures of him texting Coach Freeze about rent money for his mom.
Watch Stanley, the left tackle of
I have
Notre Dame, he
pictures of
shut
it.
Lawson out. I thought Lawson
I'm not sure if this is
played
quite real yet.
at too much of a weight, Mel. He played at about 280. I think he needs to get down to 265, 260. I thought he ran out of stamina late in the game. Look, I like the player, but I think he's going to have to learn to play on 2 feet, which he did at Clemson. But he's going to have to convert to an outside linebacker, pick up his stamina, and prove that he can whip some of the good tackles in the NFL.
All right, so the Bills have another Clemson player. Let's go. Look, they
He's
got
a,
a lot
my
of
buddy's
a lot of juice with Watkins,
strength and
with Sean McCoy. They're an interesting team.
and intern at Alabama.
They're on the
So he said
cusp.
it's been no
You
guy.
gotta trust me on that one. Soon as you
There's a
call
lot
me,
of
your turn.
Well, they say
investigation
Shaq
against Sue
Lawson
Freeze.
smiles
And
all
he's
the way to the
he's already
quarterback
hired a
in that
lawyer
2.5
that's going to come out soon.
last year.
Really?
Well, you know, the
Makes
journey
sense.
has
They have a bunch of guys there that
What's
became
the
really
most
relevant to the
challenging
program.
thing
They
you
were
had
really
to
not
overcome
much.
to get here?
Well, you figure out what you might do.
This day right now has been 5 years since my dad
Wow,
got
so you're
me
not
in the class.
paying his rent.
So this day is special for me. I don't come alive, man.
I mean, come
I'm so
on.
happy right now.
We're honoring your dad, Lawrence. How did he impact the journey?
He impacted a lot. He
Bring
made me a
Mary
man.
Kay
He
Cabin
made me
when
the
the
man I was
Browns
today. I had to step up a lot.
Shockey Brown on drafting Corey Coleman. We added a dynamic player to our offense, speed and tenacity to turn
So you
small
stay close
plays
to home.
into big
Now you're
plays.
heading to
And
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
What do you think of that?
I'm here in Buffalo, but I'm here with Rex right now, and he all in, like we do in country. So it don't feel like I'm going anywhere but another step, but it's just Buffalo.
Congratulations.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's go to Adam with more.
And Susie, Buffalo is very excited to have him there as well as Shaq Lawson. That was the player that they wanted all along, targeting him. The one issue there is that
Oh, Jets are still up.
And John and
Coming down the stretch here. Wow.
that shoulder's
We
going
got
to
just
require
11 more.
at some point. And the
Let I go.
And we have one less pick than usual because
to have that
Patriots.
surgery, but once he has the surgery,
Okay.
it's a 4 to 6 month procedure that he'll be sidelined for. They think he can make it through the next season. They don't know that he was a medical red flag for some teams, but the Buffalo Bills wanted him, weren't concerned, are aware of the injury, and they'll move forward happily.
Carolina's in Denver.
All right, Adam, thank you very much. Yeah,
There's
we'll be an
Washington,
option player and team.
The Jets.
Tumble,
We're
right?
going
The
Paxton
Jets
Lynch
are next. The Jets,
or
best record with the team,
maybe
not in the playoffs, 10-6. Under Todd Bowles, the guy that you guys know
maybe
very
Jackson, the cornerback.
well. They have no quarterback really at the moment. With Ryan Fitzpatrick not signed, yes, there's
I like Bryce
Gino
when
is
he's there.
there, but bring 10 and
They embraced
16.
the project. Wow.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is, we'll see. Gino and young Bryce Petty. So is now this a spot where Paxton Lynch is being seriously considered? And that's his draft.
There's Lee Steinberg.
What do we think?
I love the offensive coordinator of the
What is
Jets.
that like?
Jan Gailey, remember, he had
He's a
Gordon
hipster.
Stewart. He's coached a lot of different kind of quarterbacks
Don't you know?
in his long coaching career.
Robert Downey
If
Jr.
anybody has a creative mind to get it out of Paxton Lynch, it would be Jan Gailey. He's coached all kinds of different
John
players.
Gruden just
And
thinks
I love
everyone is the
Paxton Lynch.
greatest.
I think in this draft, he's the most intriguing guy that
He
I've
just
seen.
blasted
He's
that,
6'7",
Shaq Lawson.
245 pounds. He has a
Doesn't listen to
38-inch
what he said.
vertical jump. You just
So he
said
thinks
to
he's
the
out
New
of
York
shape.
Jets,
He
don't have
was
a quarterback.
tired at the end of
We're gonna
games.
get one. I think this is a great opportunity for them to take a look at a quarterback. I mean, look at the highlights of this kid. I haven't seen many guys come through my
Got some
doors
NBA
other than
playoff
Cam
action.
Newton that have these kind of measurables. And what he did in Memphis is unprecedented. Nobody goes to Memphis and cares. about
Atlanta's up
the
on
team.
Boston by 20.
Years ago, he shredded Ole Miss, and they can run a lot of different kind of plays. Quarterback power plays, play action passes, no back. This kid can play. He's
Yeah,
got
he said that's
talent.
real.
He just
Look
needs
that
the
up.
right coach. And I think
Just
Jan
the
Gailey
hack
would be
on
an
his
outstanding
Instagram.
place
Someone posted his text messages to Coach Breeze asking about electric and water bills for his mom.
That's what they were talking about, his Instagram.
Jets would feel in this kind of situation that Jan Gailey and Paxton Lynch
All
are on
right,
the same page sooner
So if
rather
they don't go Paxton Lynch
than
here,
sooner rather than later.
would they
and bring that
go?
position into a position where it's relevant again for the New York Jets, and then they
I don't know, because a lot of the top guys were available, and I don't think they don't really need wide receiver. Maybe Reggie Ragland can play in a 3-4 defense.
Play Mike or Buck in the report.
Yeah. Now as a
That's really the guy.
offensive line showing some age as well. They need a pass rusher like John Abraham, who was some pretty good
course,
corners on the board. What's the thing to say? They passed one and said William
Yeah,
Jackson
Keanu
third,
Neal
take
from
it
Florida going
like
to
that.
Falcons.
I mean, look,
Not
here's
horrible.
and the Jets.
So I had no idea
They're in
about
a
that.
division. They got to stop the Patriots and Tom
Just
Brady.
end the season.
How good the Jets defense was last
Just
year.
endure the suffering.
Jets fans.
See what they do.
Be a little Paxton Lynch here.
The 2016 NFL Draft,
Is it the QB?
the New York Jets select Darren Lee.
Linebacker. Linebacker. Wrong one, but
I mean,
Ohio State.
Todd Bowles.
It's like that 1998 Ohio State team.
Also
David
the
Boston.
2002 Hurricanes.
This team wasn't in the college football playoff.
It was.
Michigan State squeaked in.
Yeah.
And then didn't score a point.
Oh,
yep. He's got a lot of speed for a linebacker. He's a guy who goes sideline to sideline.
That was just poor blocking.
That was horrible block. I don't think I'm going to show them.
Covering a guy in the slot.
Oh,
That was a great play. Against Rutgers, their fourth program. Awful block. Now he's rushing on the outside. Another nice play. Yeah, he's a playmaker, man.
you're impressed by what you see.
He's good.
I like this pick because
So NFC East pick here, the last NFC East pick. Possibly.
Would you ride with
Trade
her?
up. Who's Washington? They have Jameson. They have Crowder in the slot. They have Sean. They have Pierre.
I'm going to go like this.
I was thinking receiver maybe.
Who?
Maybe
Washington.
Not. They went offensive line last year with Brandon Sheriff.
I think they go defense.
I think they go defense too.
Washington. Last year they took a smart pick. Sheriff.
Guard. Rest of straight to pick the Texans.
What?
Wow.
Right there. They're switching. I'm going
Whoa.
to do this. I'm
Whoa,
going to do
whoa, yo, hey, yo.
This is just a one spot thing. They believed that Washington was going to take their guy.
You can just lie.
Couldn't
you? You said, hey, we want to trade up. Who you guys
Houston
going to pick?
needs, they're good on defense.
Receiver bad.
Receiver, Will Fuller.
Treadwell.
Treadwell.
They have DeAndre
Dotson's
Hopkins.
still available.
And they drafted Jalen Strong from Arizona State last year. Philly guy.
He was third round. They need a quarterback. Well, they signed Osweiler, but I'm not a big Osweiler guy.
Yeah, like $17 million a year. That guy for 4 years.
They need a running back bad.
No, they signed Lamar Miller.
They got Lamar Miller. I mean, they could go
I
offensive
say
line.
last year they had like Alfred Blue, and he
Yes.
Saved the Blues.
that was my Joe Mitchell moment right there.
Let's go with
I don't know. Houston,
Josh Dotson.
Oh,
I'm
it's
still,
Fuller, Treadwell, Dotson.
I say wide receiver.
Dotson.
So we're all in agreement it's a receiver, so then it's not a receiver.
And 23 minutes. You've been a passenger.
By the way, if you pull up Josh Barnill's Twitter, the crowd goes nuts when Carson Wentz was picked. When Bismarck was good.
To be a driver.
I would assume so.
Exactly. All these people for this draft party.
Yeah, they showed it on TV. That's great.
I would think
Kids are happy. Like, the kids even know Carson Wentz is.
there's a possibility they can go safety here.
And everything we learned making these tires.
John McMullen. Miles Jack and Paxton Lynch are free falling.
Miles Jack is still on board. Could used to be trading up to get that Miles, but they don't need a defensive player. They need an offensive player.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes
Could use a tight end.
they have
This team.
Tight ends in this draft.
yeah, I'm just going first.
Right, but this team.
There's a kid from Alabama they said would be the first round pick. OJ Howard, he's an athletic freak. And he went back to school. He would have been a first round pick. Yeah, maybe. So if you're a team like this and you have a defensive player like Miles Jack
Here you
really
go.
high on your list,
Adam Schefter. Here comes the run of wide receivers.
Jordan and Chelsea were searching
Adam Schefter call.
place for their wedding.
So,
I believe we called it first.
I believe we did. You're saying Will Fuller, I'm saying Josh D.
and I'm saying Treadwell.
So there's no chance this is going to happen. It's like when you're in a room, everyone's like, "Who'd you bet on tonight?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's got that same line. Just pony up then.
Were you laughing in your fantasy?
Yeah.
Me too.
All right, so Ohio State right now is one short of the all-time record for one school having the most first-round picks
Yeah, look.
in the first round.
This is to you.
Yeah.
Vilma, Winslow.
DJ Williams, the Broncos. Still leave us up here for a minute.
Jordan Carey.
Went to Miami and then the big fella.
Vince Wilfork, 21 overall.
So
Oh,
far,
cool.
Ohio State is at 5. Joey Bosa early to
One
San
more.
Diego, Ezekiel Elliott to Dallas, Eli Apple to the Big Apple to the New York.
Actually, look at this list. Miami and Ohio State have first, 2, 3, 4 of the top 5 most players.
Does somebody want this Tunsil to go down?
Yeah, I'm happy with you.
Except
That's
what?
scary that someone can go in. There's things on all of our phones that could get us in real trouble.
It's a wide receiver, their choice. They're
Every single person.
The trade involves a 6th-round pick next year, so Houston could move up 1 to take a wideout. It'll be interesting, but we have DeAndre Hopkins. You need a complimentary receiver on the other side.
They believe this could be El Wideout. Why'd that go to Dallas?
Speed, at 4.3 speed. Josh Dotson before.
Whoa, what?
That's the star in the Houston.
And more short-handed.
Oh, yeah, it's Houston.
It looks like a Dallas Cowboys star, doesn't it?
Hey, Lance.
That's the only reason I'm a big fan. The Washington Redskins have traded the 21st pick to the Houston Texans.
Miles Jack or Josh Dobbs.
With the 21st
Come on.
pick
John
in the
McMullen,
I need to get
2006
one right.
Will Fuller.
NFL draft, the Houston Texans select Will Fuller.
Oh!
One run here.
Damn.
Got 2 out of the last 3.
Can't give you Shaq Lawson. No, that was Shaq. So Houston takes William Fuller.
This makes this Washington pick a little tougher because I think Washington could have been in the safety area. They're not going to go quarterback. They probably, I mean, they're not going to go.
Now the Redskins pick. Defense got to be Kevin Dodd. They need help in the secondary. They can get a corner.
Definitely need safety.
So let's look at the corners that are still there. Hargreaves and Apple are off the board. You have Xavier Howard from Baylor, William Jackson from Houston, and Mackenzie Alexander from Clemson. Out of those, I'd probably go with Alexander. I just don't trust those schools like Houston and like Baylor that like don't have an interest in defense. Like the whole like game plan and program is built on scoring 60 points a game.
Right.
Like that's why the Oregon guys I don't really like.
Ekpe, Akpe, what was that guy?
Ike, Offray, I love Mackenzie Alexander.
This is the guy who watches tape closely. He can run the entire route tree. He can take the rocket swings, rocket streams. He can take it 80 yards. You want to run him on the curl, he can run that. You want to run him on the slants, he'll come inside, he'll do that. He can beat you on the post, he can beat you on
Right after his Instagram account has been hacked, Warren Tunsil admits taking money from a coach.
Someone is blowing his spot up.
He is.
Getting blasted.
Josh Cornell got a ride home back to his hotel from, he got the director of the high school, Carson Wentz went to. Because apparently, there is no Uber. Josh Cornell's not happy about it.
That's pretty good. We'll be back.
Carson Wentz tells CSN Philly, I hate losing. I'm wired to be the hardest worker. I'll be the first one in, the last one to leave.
City where 55 pounds of salmon in bear country. Patrick, he's hitting literally to anything. Fans promise to do lots of things to bring back their favorite burritos. A promise is a promise, Patrick. Grab the cheesy double beef or the beefy crunch burrito for just $1. You brought him back. We made him $1. You earned it. This is how Precision listens. Bose microphones that hear engine noise, then counter it with a sound-canceling frequency. which helps make the cabin so quiet you don't miss a thing.
Good night, kiddo.
It's called active noise cancellation, and it's available in the new, meticulously crafted 2016 Sierra from GMC. This is the precision of professional grade. Or get nearly $8,300 total value on specially equipped 2016 Sierra Crew Cab SLT models. GMC, we are professional
Ruh-roh,
grade.
Ole Miss.
You know that moment?
What a night for Laramie Tunsil. Look.
It's funny, someone had this information. They waited until prime time to launch that.
I mean, that's why this show's on primetime Thursday nights.
Yep.
You put it on against Seinfeld.
Whether you know
I mean, that's nuts, man.
when you guys
Sports Illustrated MMQB's Emily Kaplan said that Laramie Tunsil was asked after he was drafted, was there an exchange of money between you and your coach?
I have to
Tunsil,
say yes.
I have to say yes.
See you later, Ole Miss.
This
It
guy's
was nice seeing you in bowls.
This guy's tweet was great. Breaking. The Atlanta Braves have won a Major League Baseball game.
Pittsburgh.
We were doing the NL East week. I was looking at that roster saying,
Remember the guy from Atlanta, Kristen Domino? He said his team might be the worst team in baseball. He's like, I gotta watch him every night.
You better believe that
He goes, the Phillies got a future.
what's that night for Laramie Tunsil do for Treadwell? He's an Ole Misser as well.
Yes, he is.
He's probably ripping those bonds and taking that cash.
He's probably deleting
Well.
he's probably on his phone deleting every bad picture he's got, every video, any bad tweets he's ever sent out. Wait, Tunsil just denied an exchange of money between him and his coach. Then asked again, said it happened, then interrupted. He was ushered off the stage.
Tires chosen by experts.
Redskins. The rumor is the Redskins going to go wide receiver here.
Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Interesting.
Booking.
I love it.
This.
Welcome back to Chicago, everybody.
This is a tough one. Washington.
The rumor on Twitter is that they're going to go wide receiver here.
That was a spot that I could see them going.
Well, I just went through it. They got Deshaun and Pierre, and they drafted a receiver they liked from Duke last year.
Treadwell certainly would be in the mix there. Defensive line, we think about the Redskins.
They could go Jackson, corner.
Then you get the corners from Pittsburgh.
I mean, if I go with Twitter, I don't know.
I'm going with my original thought, which has got me about 2 picks right this whole time.
William Jackson,
Mackenzie Alexander.
Kevin Dodd could be in this mix.
Yet another Clemson
So
tie.
here is a trade recap. There's not a lot to recap between two division winners. The
Who?
AFC South champ. Houston and 9-7.
There it is.
Redskins get a 6th round.
There it is, crying Jordan on draft
The
night.
NFC
Only a matter of time.
Right, ESO.
One spot. John, I know you might be
Tunsil denies, then admits coaches gave him money at Ole Miss.
Houston Texans have only selected 3 wide receivers in the first round in franchise history. Andre Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, and now
First 2 worked out.
Yeah, so you might know something.
With the 22nd pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Washington Redskins select Josh Doxson, wide receiver, TCU.
good player.
Good player.
They
Good
got,
player.
they got a lot of jam at wide receiver.
He looks like he's thrilled to go to the nation's capital.
So they said, well, here's a receiver we want. Why- I don't get that trade then.
Yeah.
And then just lie to them and say we're,
I don't get it.
Well, if you're Washington,
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Washington's got a 6th round pick randomly.
This kid has a 41-inch version
Well,
of the best at the
maybe
combine.
Houston liked Fuller that much more, and Washington ended up taking the receiver.
Well, like, but if Washington knows, so if Washington knew that they like Doxson, so what are they saying? Like, oh, we're gonna take him. If you don't, then they go, wait, we want him, so we'll give you a 6th round pick. If Washington really liked him that much, a 6th round pick's not worth it. They just wouldn't understand the dynamic of that trade.
Possibly of Minnesota and Cincinnati. 2 teams looking at wide receiver. Josh Dodson, quiet yet tough, wants to be great, and he won't brag about it. I tell you, he's become that character of 15. We said for Keanu Neal, that's Josh Dodson. Talk about
Yeah, I like him.
the leadership he has from his mom. and
Josh
his
Norris of
family.
NBC Sports just said,
The production
the
he's
team that's not happy right now is the Bengals. The top 5 receivers are off the board.
Treadwell and AJ Green. Ooh. Two very big receivers.
Minnesota.
Well, the Vikings need a wide receiver.
Texting my buddy, he's a big Redskins fan. So what are your thoughts? Where's he going to fit?
Treadwell can go here.
I know he's not considered a speed merchant, but that's pretty darn good. I don't care what kind of offense you're playing in, and coach, you're exactly right. This guy wins the 50-50 balls every single time. At the combine, he put on the catching expedition. I mean, he put all the other wide receivers to shame in the combine, snatching everything.
Anybody is a wide receiver. It's the Minnesota Vikings. Who has a wide receiver for last year?
Piss and poor.
Charles Johnson, Mike Wallace.
Who's that guy that was pretty good for them for a little while?
Who's that?
The guy drafted out of Maryland.
Who?
He became a fantasy football like star. For the Vikings.
Yeah, who was it?
He was drafted out of Maryland. His name.
Oh, the receiver, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
He was good. He was really good in college.
Yeah, from Maryland.
The Vikings. Is it possible Miles Jack is not?
All the action this Sunday.
And the Eagles don't pick till 70.
It's taking out tomorrow night.
This is Treadwell right here.
Jack could go to Seattle.
Wow, my Redskins fan says crushed, man. I'm absolutely crushed.
Wow.
Why? I'm crushed in the
He is extremely
It's
disappointed.
not like when the Jets years ago drafted Kyle Brady.
They do have a lot. They have a lot of jam receivers. So I mean, I guess Pierre's out the door next year. Too much
Well,
money.
Pierre's contract is
Because
expiring.
Josh Doxson can play on the outside.
Medium pizzas, Wing Street Wings.
Jackson signed
One of those-
in 2018-2019. I know Jackson,
You're right, Captain.
Pierre Garçon's deal is going to be up soon.
They got that guy that like to work in the slot.
Yeah,
It's Crowder.
very
Doxson's a good player though. I thought he was the number 2 receiver for me. I would put Treadwell and Doxson.
good. He was my number.
There was a little while back that Treadwell was like far and away the number 1 receiver.
Yeah, like I don't get how that like just changes.
Well, because they thought it was too slow.
You know who also said the same thing about was Alshon Jeffrey.
They on bowl was too slow too.
Keep it running long.
About like the last couple years, SEC guy.
I could see a Denver trade here, by the way.
Back to lunch.
I think at this point, Minnesota won't think QB, Cincinnati won't, Pittsburgh won't, Seattle won't, Green Bay won't, Kansas City
won't,
may,
Arizona might.
Denver might have a fall, all right?
Denver made a trade with Green Bay.
Minnesota's going to take Treadwell. That would be
Cincinnati be bummed.
Cincinnati would be really upset.
That Noah Spence,
you believe Cincinnati wants Treadwell.
Treadwell, and AJ Green will be scary. They don't really need him. Why not? Who's your other guy on the other side?
Sanu.
Yeah, most of them do. He's been around a little while.
And the other guy,
He left. I think on Marvin
David
Davis.
Price is pitched in pretty huge spots. He's
Not Martin
never,
Jones.
ever
Yeah,
done
yeah,
inside
yeah,
the
when
Yank
he
style.
yeah, I'm not talking about him.
It's only made this
Mohamed
rivalry.
Sanu?
That's a play.
So,
He left too, didn't he?
Sunday Night Baseball, Yankees, Red Sox, Sunday at 8 on ESPN.
Tonight, after
I'm
the
not
track.
sure.
We're in Chicago. We get to
Yes, Sanu left. They signed Brandon LaFell.
Chicago tonight. ESPN.
That's poor. They could use a wide receiver there.
Here's the response. Wasn't a position to need, even if it was a deep wide receiver pass. Should have taken Michael Thomas from Ohio State.
It's not a deep wide receiver.
Honestly, it's kind of the guy was not very good.
Last year, their first NFC North Browns in 2009.
These gentlemen were standing outside of this pavilion.
Here you go, Charlie Cashel. Surprise, Redskins went wide receiver with all the defensive needs. Taking wide receiver will free up cap space in the future. So either Jackson or Garcon get a cut.
That's what you said.
So that's Charlie Cashel.
What
Former
he said.
Redskins general manager.
This Redskins fan, he's pretty hardcore. He said he would have enjoyed Miles Jack there. Perhaps Michael Thomas, which would have made the 6th Buckeye.
Michael Solberg says if Miles Jack is still on the board when the Packers are picking,
See ya.
I'll bet you he is their pick.
And the numbers are very similar. You think about Michael Irvin with North Turner in Dallas, North Turner's in Minnesota. You stole Stephon Diggs in the 5th round last year. A great rookie campaign. Now you helped out Ted receivers.
6 receivers
was
today,
considered
Stephon
big, ran
Diggs.
4.55 coming out of Miami. Jonathan Treadwell paid from Minnesota because of the fact he fits that profile of what North Turner wants.
Well, if you're comparing him to those three guys,
All right, this Treadwell saying that Tunsil got me burned in this draft.
That's fine, dude. He needs to fall. He needs to fall to Dallas at 34.
Could be Miles Jack. I would say Treadwell, but Miles Jack would be a possibility too, right?
Hugh Jackson says that wide receiver coach Al Saunders will be the key to Coleman adjusting to the NFL.
Wow, this is the first offensive player selected in the first round from TCU since.
Danny Tomlinson?
Look it up.
Actually, no, I got it.
I don't believe you got that.
No, I got it. I'm actually looking at Neil
Can't
Haskins.
think of him.
Yeah, let's wait to see how long it
I'm a
takes.
huge Danny Tomlinson.
We were talking about him today.
See you later.
Oh.
The receiver run is real.
Oh, it's real. It's damn real.
Bang, bang, bang.
Oh, it's real.
It's Kurt Angled your ass. Oh, it's real. Oh, it's damn real.
Take the eyebrows cover. It's real. It's damn.
3 in a row. That's a rarity.
Adam Schefter.
Same position 3 times in a row. Now Cincinnati is sitting there saying, what the hell happened? Just 3 picks ago, we were staring any one of those receivers right in the face.
We
Now
got Cincinnati could also go wide receiver and what?
Michael Thomas.
That's go gadget in this spot.
4 wideouts in a row.
Yeah, the only concern I have here with Ron Treadwell is just the Teddy Bridgewater yards per attempt. It's just not good enough. They just don't produce the kind of explosive plays down the field that I think you need.
Steve Schaller will be in town this weekend.
Last year only caught 6 receiving touchdown passes, which is last in the league in the NFL.
All right, so the Bengals got screwed 20 ways to Sunday.
Yeah.
He believes it's been 20 ways to the day of our Father. He might have had a different.
What you see here is a guy who's going to struggle a little bit to get off the line of scrimmage. He's going to use his size, use his strikes.
What do you guys think there?
Create separation.
Cincinnati, I believe, will go the way of.
They reach for a receiver now because they feel desperate. That would be the poor move.
Coleman's already gone.
4 receivers going.
Coleman, Treadwell, Fuller. They're all gone.
This is not a great wide receiver class either.
Well, there's 4 in the first round.
4.
I love everything I hear. I like a lot of things that I see.
Braxton Miller.
Oh, that's a super reach.
He's a 3rd rounder.
And Scott Wright has him as his number 4 overall receiver in this draft.
A little high for a guy.
I would take Braxton Miller in the 2nd round, not the 1st round.
You got Laquan Treadwell, Josh Doxson, Corey Coleman, Braxton Miller, Michael Thomas. I mean, they're both Ohio State, by the way. You could get another Ohio Stater.
7.
Will Fuller, Tyler Boyd, Sterling Shepard, Leonte Carew.
Ooh, I like Carew. He's a monster, dude.
Carew is got a lot of skills.
He's really good. Great ball skills.
He's another guy who's off the field issues. Could have him
Oh, yeah.
sliding.
Oh, it's true.
He got some issues with his girlfriend or something, right?
It's unfortunate. Seemed like a nice young man.
So we had to go do that.
Enjoy this guy. Kenny Lawler is another gentleman who could be a 2nd rounder.
Well, it seems like everyone. It's not many receivers left.
You believe that the receivers will be dried up.
I think in the 6th round, I might get a recall. That's all I can do in flag football.
I'll give you that. This pick right here is a monumental selection.
Monumental.
Well, these Bengals haven't won a playoff game since
In
Moses wore
years.
short pants.
They haven't won a playoff game, I think, since Boomer Esiason as a starting quarterback.
Probably not. I mean, this is a pick that needs to
Here's
change.
a guy who's really good. Josh, I think I told you, Jonathan Bullard from Florida. Really good defensive line. Very good. Looked him up. All the numbers.
I would say, I think one of the Alabama defensive players might go here.
He commands an 8-man
Ragland, Reed.
They have a good defense, though, Cincinnati. Offensive line's good too.
Yeah, but some of the guys.
Situations, I bet Teddy Bridgewater's a happy man.
Dominico Pecco is very young.
Sign the profile of Mike Wallace. And but I also understand that sometimes that doesn't work out. I know this. If you watched them last year,
I think if I'm Cincinnati,
hamstrung this offense, Teddy wouldn't pull
I'm angry.
He had people open down.
4 receivers, 3 receivers just went right in my face.
Yep, and look what that team need right there.
Defensive tackle, they could go with that young gentleman from Alabama.
One.
Well, now the booking.com
Hey.
Robinson. Ashawn Robinson. Or you go with
Maybe Reed.
Jaron Reed. Austin Johnson could be a selection in this spot.
South Jersey guy.
Robert Condemchi.
Actually,
This
we
is what
when we
Juan
talked
and
to
Madison,
who
what
we
does your
talked to
daughter think about all of this?
She's just been having
a couple weeks ago.
been running
Oh,
around.
Phil Yates. Phil Yates
The
said.
Hawks knocked the Celtics out, by the way.
They,
Second round series tips off Monday.
Ole Miss wide
Let's
receiver
Who the Hawks play
ever
next
be
round?
selected in the first round. Obviously, the Vikings know you're great.
The Hawks
You had
played the
letter to
Cavs.
all 32
They're
teams
killed.
last week. Why?
I mean, you just urinated on that team.
I did. By the way, so Phil
Who
Yates
needs
said.
that?
So a couple weeks ago, Phil Yates said if Austin Johnson was in any other draft year, he would be a surefire first round pick.
Surefire.
But because this draft is so deep on
That's
defensive
Scott Wright
tackle,
said that.
Phil Yates said too.
Field. Oh, Yates, what a name.
And that guy was born talking about football, right? On his field. Yeah.
So this is all about the ladies in your life. So let's give
I
your
was
mom
gonna
some
take
credit. You're a
Paxton
Chicago
Lynch was
kid.
there,
You grew up not
34th.
far from here. What kinds of things did she
Not
do?
bad, yeah.
That's not
to get you
bad.
to the
Well,
south side of
Dallas
this
took
state?
Paxton Lynch to be mixed at 34.
Every day, from moving house to house and making things work.
But they really need some help on defense, man. They can't go with the first 2 picks up. But I mean, if he's that's your, they believe that guy.
She's my biggest role model. The way she works, she sticks to her plans and stay with it and stay true. It's a blessing, and I'm just happy to be here with her. She's in the back in the green room. My family, friends up above in Chicago. I got drafted late, but I think I'm in the perfect situation with the Minnesota Vikings organization.
So for your mom, Tammy, and your daughter, Madison, congratulations.
Thank you so
Right
much.
now, Jason Cole and Bruce Butler getting a little bit of
All right,
Twitter.
Susie, congratulations to Juan, as they call him. Chanel number 34, the Cincinnati Bengals who won the division last year. AFC North. We all remember that. We all remember that playoff loss.
Sports
Pittsburgh,
versus
which
Bleacher
was
Report.
What we got here?
embarrassing to say the least.
Pittsburgh. Next
Surely the
Pittsburgh needs
Bengals,
safeties, bro.
perfect, and others it was a bad end.
I mean, they need a safety, and they need one bad.
So CBS Sports, Mike Ortiz, who is, I would say has gotten most of the draft right so far, thinks that the Bengals will go with a guy that neither Mike Gill or I said. He thinks they're going to go William Jackson. Let's see who's right.
With the 24th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select William Jackson III, defensive
I
back,
just said that.
Houston.
Yeah, but you did say about 4
Never had
names
enough
like that.
corners. This is super
No, I'm just saying. I just said that.
for wide receiver.
What did you just say?
Well, I just said that Mike Ortiz said that William Jackson.
Oh.
I didn't say. I said Mike Ortiz.
No, I'm saying what caused me to say that.
Oh, I mean mentioned.
Leon Hall left, so I guess they need to.
See, I'm with you. I'm not a fan of this guy
Like that.
playing on a defense.
That's a poor comment by you.
I can be like Jamie Howard.
Same difference.
All right, Pittsburgh's in a tough spot here because they need a safety. And I don't believe there's one worth taking right here.
Right here.
I mean, unless you're going to take Von Bell. Jeremy Cash, I think he's a little further down this list. Miles Dillabrew.
Kodiak's brother.
Arguably the best ball skills of any quarterback in the draft. They
Yeah, that was an estimate around guy.
I saw him on Scott Wright's list of underrated.
Dillabrew. Great last name, too.
10 tackles in that game. 6'1.5", 189-pounder with good length. Like I said, the Steelers in the division.
The Steelers.
At 25, and the Bengals getting to 24.
Oh,
That's what I like to pick. I like to pick a lot for Cincinnati Bengals. When you think of the fact that Adam Jones is 32 years old, they need another corner to pair with Kirkpatrick. This kid has the kind of ball skills that Bill Center doesn't have. And this guy can finish on the rock.
Steelers made that pretty quick. Could this be Steelers?
No, it's Jack. Le'Veon Bell wants him. Safety is what I'd say they need. To go Ashawn Robinson.
This guy has McKenzie.
I think your defense. I don't know who, but I think your defense.
Definitely defense. Their defense stunk last year. Their offense is very good.
So they missed some games. Here's the Steelers pick. With the 25th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Artie Burns.
Oh!
Miami.
7th rated cornerback and a 2nd round grade on this gentleman.
Reach, but he's from the U.
Oh, he's got her with her.
It's
Yeah,
a reach,
man,
but it's from the U.
Oh!
Listen, you went to the U, you might have that on your arm.
I don't know about this selection.
You believe Artie Burns?
I believe I saw him in a
I think
lot
that's
of
a
box, middle, 4th round.
Go Gadget.
Go snag.
You believe that Artie Burns is not a first rounder?
No, I don't.
Alexander.
You believe Artie Lang is more of a first rounder?
Great comedian.
First round community.
I mean, just a name like Artie Burns gets you put.
It sounds like an old guy smoking a cigar playing poker.
I mean, Artie Burns gets you put in the 2nd round just because you're Artie. I mean, you go Artie Burns.
You make that
He
selection.
just blasted him. You can't be grabby, he says.
Trade alert. Seahawks straight pick. Who's getting the quarterback? The Broncos. And here's Paxton Lynch.
Hey, is it Connor Cook or Paxton Lynch?
Oh, I hope it's Paxton Lynch.
They go Christian
Oh
Hackenberg.
God, if they go
Artie
anyone
Burns.
non-
Actually, Artie Burns. Actually, Mackenzie Alexander is still on the board. I mean, you believe Artie Burns should have been a little lower. Here goes Burns.
You're appalled by that selection.
I think it's great.
Artie Burns. Wow.
That was like, who did they take last
So
year?
is this Paxton Lynch?
I think so.
Who did the Steelers take last year?
This must be Connor Cook, man. This kind of thing happens every year. There's like some quarterback that goes before another when everyone swears it's going to be.
They traded with the Seattle Seahawks.
Here we go, boys. Denver. Right ahead of KC and Arizona.
They want somebody.
You take Miles Jack and let Von Miller walk.
Oh, you out of
Okay,
your
that's
mind.
ridiculous.
We still have Christian Hackenberg on the board, but the Broncos now are positioned to take a
Von Bell.
and that means there'll be no trade for Sam Bradford.
Adrian Peterson is very happy to have
Oh,
LeVon
no.
Treadwell.
There will be no trade for Sam Bradford.
Or Colin Kaepernick, he said.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Unless San Francisco wants to get back into the first round.
Here you go. Adrian Peterson tweeted out, "Great pick, Viking Nation. LeVon Treadwell set your mind on winning a championship, son."
I don't want to hear that. I want to hear reaction to Burns.
Nobody Burns. I mean, he was playing a poker game.
Who did they draft last year, the Steelers?
As a key decision
Bud.
maker for the NFL draft.
Yes, Bud Dupree. They got Bud and
Artie,
Artie.
they're playing poker.
They're having a couple of Tom Collins. I mean, they're sitting there on a Friday having a couple of Tom Collins or gin on the rocks. I mean, they're
Johnny
playing
Walker Blues.
Artie Burns and Bud Dupree playing canasta.
Oh, that's great.
Funny man on Twitter.
I mean, that's the poorest selection
His
so far.
reaction to Artie Burns and the Steelers fans
Oh.
faints with bonus note.
Get 6 for just $5.
My dad called me. He's all excited about that Ezekiel Elliott. He said, I don't like Ramsey, but not bad.
Save up to 30% on select diamonds and rhythm at K, the #1 jewelry store in America.
Greetings, neighbor. Neighbor boy.
Yeah, so we're just bringing your son home. He really loves our wireless direct TV receiver.
Oh, like
should
Rush
know
right
better.
there, right?
We're settlers. We settle for cable. But let us
First
repay you
son.
for your troubles. Fresh milk for the journey home.
We live right there.
Salted meats.
No, thank you.
That's that.
Don't be a settler. Get $100 reward card when you switch to DirecTV.
Now, Straight Talk Wireless has more high-speed data than ever before. We're talking double the data for just $10 more. That's 10 gigs of high-speed data to stream more video, more music, more whatever you want. All on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Choose from 2 great plans. Our unlimited plan with 5 gigs of high-speed data, or double your data for just $10 more. Find out more at StraightTalkSwitch.com.
The pressure's on now. You better believe that this opportunity needs to be seized.
So is this
This
Lynch?
season,
I would take Lynch.
Or is it Miles Jack, maybe?
I would.
It's got to be, yeah, it's
No.
got to be quarterback.
No, I would say they could take a guard. They lost Evan Mathis.
Straight up, it's hard.
keep points.
No way.
First places.
No, I don't think so. But
ESPN
that would be, I would assume, what are their needs? I don't know. Quarterback's probably high up there.
Yeah,
Mark Sanchez.
is the guy right now.
I don't mind Mark Sanchez though. I mean, Peyton Manning was nothing special last year. Brock Osweiler was nothing special last year. You're not going to be anything special from Sanchez, but
Amazing Houston showing all that money to him.
I think it's ridiculous.
Oh, it's insane.
1-2. Mel, let's take a look at your
That never
quarterbacks.
works.
Yeah, Connor Cook, Michigan
I'd like to
State
see
Coach.
Brandon Allen go right here.
He's a nice player.
I would take Lynch here.
Yeah, I think that's the move. But wait, if it was Hackenberg or Cook, it's not surprising.
No.
I mean, that happens.
Bud Dupree and Artie Burns. That is my favorite thing of the night. They go with Artie Burns.
Let's do this. Look at this gentleman. Look at this gentleman.
25 years, the NFL and Make-A-Wish Foundation have granted hundreds of
Should
wishes.
just start writing on the board. That's how confident I am.
Challenging medical
Wow.
We are proud to welcome tonight
Oh, man, looks like
16-year-old
Peyton
cancer
Manning.
survivor
I don't
Daniel
know. Okay.
Halbert from Denver.
You don't believe it looks like him at all.
He's a Broncos fan. He won the contest. He's excited, this young man. He had this opportunity. He's gonna announce a brand new quarterback for this program.
Paxton Lynch.
This may surprise you, but Daniel's a big Broncos fan, and his wish is to announce the Broncos' first-round pick. So this is your moment, Daniel. Go for it.
Put it on the board.
Thank you. With the 26th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Paxton Lynch.
There it is. We finally got one. Paxton with an X.
Bringing that young man up, and then
Right behind Artie Burns. QB.
emotional. Here's the ball.
He's crying.
And
That's a great spot for him to be. He's got to be excited as hell. Those receivers, that defense.
Peyton Manning was shorter than Osweiler and Paxton Lynch. I love the place he's going. Gary Kubiak will work wonders with this kid. This guy's come from string bean to beast. He's added over 30 pounds in the last 3 years. I love his size. I love the way he moves. He's very athletic, and he's very hard-nosed. And I met with this kid a long time ago. He walks in the door. He's all of 6'7", 245. He's got a 37-inch vertical. He's been well coached. A lot of people criticize their scheme. They ripped everybody they played almost. And he's a dual threat.
They lost
carried
Temple.
the ball 288
They did.
times for 17
They were
touchdowns.
awful.
He almost
They
threw
scored
for
12 points.
4,000 yards. He's a great competitor. He's got to get quicker. All 6'7" quarterbacks do. But what an opportunity for a kid out of Deltona, Florida.
This gentleman said Peyton Manning looks much younger now that he's retired. That was him announcing the Denver pick, right? I mean, he also believed it looked like St. Manning.
Oh, look at that hair. That is awful.
He's a rare athlete.
Looks like a Spartan helmet.
I hate the
Robert Downey Jr.
Cam Newton, but I don't know who else to compare it to. He can hurt you with his arm. He can hurt you with his mobility. And he's going to be a
Wow. This guy wrote, he has a little bit of Favre in him. This guy wrote, come on, Doug, maybe you have a little bit of Rich Kotite in you.
Let's go back to the old Miss game. They fell behind 14-0. Paxton Lynch brought it back. They won that game.
From Peyton to Paxton.
So they say the stage may be too big for the Ole Miss
this game, the stage wasn't too big. Now the Auburn game, that Auburn defense got the best of the Memphis Tiger offense, but you mentioned it, size, arm, mobility. Now, he never commanded a huddle. It wasn't under center. There's a lot to learn about the NFL.
I'll send a tweet about that.
They will get it this time, though. I believe in Denver. John
What?
Elway, Gary Kubiak. John Elway has made mistakes in terms of evaluation. And they will allow Paxton Lynch probably a couple years will raise up the ass to lead that NFL offense, the Bronco offense, into battle.
Yeah, this is the guy who we interviewed up in the ESPN prior to this draft, and he understands how far he
Paxton Lynch.
At least Steinberg followed him.
Packers, they said Miles Jack here. Josh just read that he on Twitter that it would be shocking to see him get past Green Bay.
You know, in conjunction with the running game and that strong defense, what a great situation for a young guy who you know needs some time, who still needs to learn some things to go into. What a great situation. I mean, strong defense, strong running game, let him just kind of mature nice and slowly. Perfect for him. Couldn't be happier for a guy like this. This is the exact situation that he needed.
The veteran that they could start the year with their quarterback at Sanchez, and what is Denver going to do? They always have a plan. Don't they? They got something up their sleeve.
Dude.
So, on the first round, Bronco quarterback.
There goes Paxton Lynch.
Jake
Off the
Cutler,
board.
Chicago.
Yes, he was the heir apparent to John Elway.
Paxton Lynch is their draft pick. So, an emotional Paxton Lynch at his headquarters in the first round to the Super Bowl champs. The Packers are next.
This could be, they could use, let's see, defense, Green Bay. They don't need much on the offensive side of the ball. They could use offensive line. Jesus, their offensive line stinks at life.
Jordy Nelson coming off the knee. And yes, Devontae Adams, he was awful last year. He dropped anything that came off
Offensive
the
line sucks at life.
garbage.
Consolidates the stock ratings
O-line
of
receiver, but there's not much receiver there. That's like a Michael Thomas.
and $7.95 online U.S. equity trades,
Oh.
lower than TD Ameritrade, Schwab, and E-Trade.
Let's see.
You realize
Top
the
100
smartest
people left.
investing idea isn't just what you invest in, but who you invest with.
Kenzie Alexander's there. Ooh, we're gonna have some good players who will start the day tomorrow, fellas. Bullard, Dodd, Howard, Derrick Henry. Miles Jack. So, do you know what exactly the prognosis was on his knee? Like he can play this year, right? It's just a very shaky case for long term.
Do you remember when Willis McGahee
Yes. Yes.
It's the same movement.
So it could affect you long term. Will's McGahee had a nice career.
Now, the reason why Jack has been dropping is Jack, in an interview with the New York Post yesterday, said that one day he may have to microplastics.
Yeah, which is really bad for us.
Horrible.
Yeah, he's like, eventually, I'm going to need.
If we don't win you over 30 days, we'll refund your money.
Yeah, I'm married. Doesn't matter.
Artie Burns. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Who are you talking to?
It's Jake from State Farm.
I mean, the gentleman's name is Art Burns.
State Farm at 3 in the morning. Who is this?
It's Jake from State Farm.
What are you wearing? Jake from State
Farm.
Farm.
Khakis.
Fuck you.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so.
Another reason more people stay with State
Andrew
Farm.
Brandt says
Get
it's
to a better state.
Colin Kaepernick and Sam Bradford's side together.
You can't always be there to protect her down the road.
Stuff.
Make sure the tire she's riding on will.
I would have let that.
Pro Football Focus. Artie Burns was the number 144th player on the PFF board. The Steelers took him at 25. PFF Steve gives this pick a D-.
Safe when new. Safe when new.
All right, so you guys know that, as we know, Carson Wentz is going to the Eagles. And now apparently people are trying to matchmake Shane Gostisbehere and Carson Wentz to become PFFs.
Green Bay Packers, and we've already seen some questions and issues arise tonight with Ole Miss players, and we have another one sitting in the green room right now. Ole
Robert Condici.
Robert Condici.
Packers picked him here.
And these wings aren't plentiful. There is not in Tucker's Barrel. I mean, this bucket. I had 4 of those wings, and that's all that anybody ate.
Yeah, I have it.
You guys finished that bucket.
Yeah. There's 20 tenders.
Oh my God! You're shocked.
I told you.
I'd like to see somebody at least make it.
I didn't
look
even
like-
order them. I just said tenders. Give me wings too.
I had 6 wings.
That's it.
I had 4. These 4, actually.
I didn't eat one bone.
How many tenders were in that bucket?
These were small wings. The ones that I had.
I mean, I had at least 10.
Yeah, I probably had.
Wow!
I think I had like.
It went 10.
It went with 10. Packers.
I mean, that's a first round selection right
It's
there.
gotta be Mr. Miles J.C.K.
Miles Jack, maybe?
Deshaun Robinson.
The Green Bay Packers select Kenny Clark, defensive.
That's extremely poor.
That's
I got the right
reach.
position.
You did not take Mr. Clark.
Well, I don't believe anybody did.
Listen, I like Kenny Clark. I think he's a very talented player, but
Kenny.
I don't see him at this spot.
What's that guy's name from? What's that show on? Kenny.
Oh, Kenny Powers.
Kenny. Kenny.
Kenny.
The guy. What's his name?
Danny. Yeah, it's hilarious.
No, to his friends.
He's counting down.
Kenny. Kenny. Hey, Kenny. Artie Burns.
You got Kenny Clark, Artie Burns, William Jackson, and
And I think Clark's a reach.
just a bit. Let's look up. I was actually just looking at defensive tackles.
I mean, him ahead of Austin Johnson.
He's not in the top 100. This gentleman.
Austin Johnson doesn't get picked in that spot.
I would have picked Robinson or Johnson ahead of him.
Or Jaron Reed.
Let's see. We got Reed, Kandichi, Ashawn Robinson, Andrew Billings, and then Kenny Clark. All 4 of those guys before were not selected. Austin Johnson comes in at number 9. Kenny Clark.
Would you go Ogba? Right here.
Ooh, I'm not a fan of that selection. Yeah, they're just spending a whole bunch of money on Justice Houston and Kyle Ali. I don't know if they can get another edge rusher.
I mean, that Sam Bradford doesn't have a landing spot.
No.
I mean, literally the only team you can look at is the Jets, and there he said, not interested.
I am dry. Tell you what, man. Bryce Petty's going to be the Jets quarterback.
No, Geno Smith.
So the Packers go for a big fella in the middle of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Geno.
1-5 last year. After a 1-5
Poor Geno.
start.
Got punched in the jaw.
The 28th pick will return with the Chiefs.
Pay the man money, yo. I mean, you're an NFL quarterback. You got a couple bucks lying around. Or some disrespect, you know? Packers have selected the defensive player of each of their last 5 first-round selections.
Who's on the board? Kansas City. Kansas City needs wide out. I mean, Macklin.
Kansas City.
And the number 1 is
Kansas City going defense.
really cool. Yeah, it's pretty great.
Actually, I'm good.
Well, after Ryan Kelly just went, or Kenny Clark.
With Kenny Clark, anything's possible. Kenny Clark and Artie Burns.
Ed Werder, extremely high-quality Cowboys source, says they made a valiant attempt to trade into that first round for Paxton Lynch. They didn't want to give up their 3rd-round pick. But I think about 34 and 67 to get up.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I'm not.
A 3rd-round pick, like if you find a quarterback that's your next quarterback, a 3rd-round pick's pimple on your ass.
What? Wow. Yeah, well, now at this point now, I mean, I think you can get a guy like that'll come to your own pick. Like you've been saying, I think they can say 34 and have Connor Cook, who I think is actually better than Paxton Lynch.
Yeah,
I'm more about that than trading it and giving up a 3rd rounder and need help in defense too.
To bring back their favorite burritos.
Well, I'm saying if they far and away believe that that's the guy.
Yeah, which I don't think they really. I think
Right, like if you're saying I like Paxton Lynch, but I'll take Connor Cook, different story. If you're saying I like Paxton Lynch, I don't like Connor Cook,
yeah, you have to.
then third round pick shouldn't matter.
Yeah, I think they're
If you're okay with either or.
probably just kicking tires more than anything.
Which is exactly why you got a truck.
Chiefs traded picks.
It's not old.
Wow.
49ers. Mr. Cook.
With quality parts.
Oh,
Get
this
past
is a
Arizona.
huge situation. They just pulled the trigger on a massive deal.
That's that.
Mike, don't point that what's already that sports center script.
I already did.
Did you really?
It's already done.
Four
In case the Eagles trade back into the first round.
You're like waiting for it. He's so deadly ritual. Me and Mike. How's sports center script going? I was waiting on the Phillies to end. Or
Yeah, I write the sports center scripts in the morning.
Wait for that game.
So we gotta wait for all, like whatever games are done. Sometimes I might wait like a little bit longer just in case, especially like this time of the year with the new like the Eagles and Brewers and stuff. Just like, not to mention there's not a, some like last night there was nothing to put in that script. It was a tough script to find the film.
Could it be Mr. Jack?
For the 49ers,
But every time someone jumps up like this, I always assume it's got to be the quarterback. But
Jack could be a pick here. UCLA, the Bay Area.
Yeah. UCLA is in LA. That would be 6 hours south of the Bay Area.
Yep. Pac-10. Chip Kelly.
Likes that.
Well, we'll get the details of the trade in a minute. San Francisco came in
You know what?
for the most
Yeah.
picks of anybody.
Chip Kelly going to get Miles Jack short.
4, 5, and 6.
You're on board with that.
I'm on board with that. You know what? That's a Chip Kelly thing to do.
Trade up. Is it a quarterback?
Second round.
It's got to be
I
Connor.
mean, I don't know what offense they're going to run. Chip
You don't believe it will be.
is gonna make it very
Not Cook
interesting. Is he gonna
because
go a little
Chip's
offense?
offense. He doesn't
I
like
can see Chip going.
He goes a little more conventional
Dak
side.
Prescott.
I
I would laugh.
That would be the reach of the draft.
Oh, I would laugh so hard.
You believe that would be a go-go gadget?
Yes. Up there with Artie Burns.
Well, we'll see. San Francisco obviously had something in mind.
Listen, I like Dak Prescott, but he is not a first round pick. This is like, you better just pray that Cowboys do not end up pushing heavily.
Maybe the third round, I guess. Yeah.
Traded the 28th
There's only one team you can go to that'll survive the
49ers.
Texans.
With the 28th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Joshua Garnett, guard.
Really?
What is
That
going
is
on?
a reach.
These guys are acting like they have any clue.
They don't know who the hell he is.
I like how well Stanford's right there.
Joshua Garnett, the third-ranked guard in the class, projected to go in the third round. Ran a 5.3 40. I could do that backwards.
Josh Garnett is a solid guard, but he's not a first round pick. For two reasons. One, he lacks elite athleticism. He's not an elite athlete.
8:30 that game is going to be on Saturday.
Which one?
The Oklahoma
Really?
City, San Antonio.
Well, it's fun to find out.
I don't get it.
That's the worst one. What Dallas did this too. They picked Travis Frederick a couple years ago.
That's
That
different.
guy's
Travis Frederick was the best center.
he was a third round trade guy. Won the first round.
I
He's
was
all
okay
pro.
with that. He was the best center in the draft that year. Garnett's not even the top two in his position.
Yeah, period. That's a little bit of special. Turns out is Arizona picking QB of the future.
Maybe Chip Kelly was so disenchanted with his guards in Philly, he said, I got to get guards.
And yet again, what conference did this gentleman come from?
The Pack.
Well, they gave up 53 sacks last year.
Damn, that is
good enough. You got to get some linemen from someplace. I mean, they're not going to fall out of the sky. So they like Garnett. They didn't have to go far to scout him. He did win the Outland Trophy, and he's been in the pro-style offense.
Yeah, I mean, I like interior linemen from Wisconsin, Bama, and Stanford. There's pro-style, punch you in the face type offense. If they would have taken him in the second when they picked there, that's fine. Why trade him? Why trade up?
This line was untouchable.
Wait, does that McShay get no time on this? What's he on the radio side?
No, McShay is on.
For tomorrow night.
He's on the post.
Kansas City, where did they go?
Yeah. So they gave up a second round, a fourth, and a sixth.
San Francisco, they also
Wow, they got robbed.
They could have gotten 37. That's what I'm saying.
They got robbed.
Sit tight, man.
The Chiefs basically said, "We want your firstborn child."
Wow. I can't believe they just made this trade.
We'll be back with Arizona.
That's
They
insane.
could have got that guy at 37.
Yeah.
That's what I said. That's only, what?
I mean,
Nine
that's
picks
an
back?
extremely poor deal.
Oh, that's the worst one in the first round.
Yeah, that's worse than Artie Burns. That's worse
At
than
least the
Clark.
Steelers didn't give up anything to take Artie Burns. So you got to circle this with a big old red bar. That is terrible.
That is poor on a very extreme level.
Yeah, it wasn't going to be Connor Cook. That's not Chip's
The
guy.
itsy spider went up the
He's
water.
gonna be
I
there.
mean, shit like Bernie Adams in like the third round.
The gutter system creating a leak in the roof. Luckily, the spider recently had Geico help him with homeowners insurance.
Awful.
Water completely destroyed his Swedish
Awful.
mattress. He got full of
You're angered by that.
and now owns the
Just angers me that these guys have jobs.
They get paid a lot of money to make awful choices.
Like, what person thinks that's a smart move?
There are 2 billion people who don't have access.
I don't care if he's an all-pro. Could have had him at 37.
At Temenos, the Microsoft Cloud, we can enable a bank to
Relax,
with
man.
the most remote locations with nothing but a phone and a tablet.
I'm really not a fan of trading up in general.
Now a person is able to start a business and employ somebody for the first time. The Microsoft Cloud helped us to bring banking to 10 million people in just 2 years. It's transforming our world.
There are certain kinds
Oh,
of roads
you didn't know?
for certain kinds of cars.
Your ass better call somebody.
Driving enjoyment.
The whole thing with Sam Bradford, man, that is
Just
awkward.
don't get too carried away.
How long before Sam Bradford claims he was hacked?
Introducing Pizza Hut's first $5 flavor menu. Just $5 each when you order 2 or more. Say yes to a medium one-topping pizza. Yes to wings, street wings. Yes to new stuffed garlic knots.
Sam Bradford just hurled a whiskey bottle
Say
against
yes
the
to
wall.
our first ever $5 flavor menu. Only at Pizza Hut.
Dear Kim and David, here's a little something for our new granddaughter.
Lawson gone,
Congratulations.
Buckner
No
gone,
sugar
Bosa gone.
gone.
So best pass rushers left. We
Cardinals
still
on the
have
board.
Jonathan
Connor
Bullard.
Cook.
Dear David,
They could take a quarterback here.
They could. Yeah, I've been saying that, but I don't know. They're kind of win now mode. They almost. Carolina was just too much for them to handle an NFC Championship game. But they're a really good team. Their running back next year, he might be
Welcome back, everybody. The Arizona Cardinals are on the clock.
David
This
Johnson.
would have been the spot for the New England Patriots to
a
take.
great fantasy keeper. If you have him to keep it.
They didn't get their first round pick because of the play game, but they will be quite active at days 2 and 3.
Peter has been running since
2, 3,
2.
5, 6,
Pretty good.
2, 7.
It's,
So he has 11 picks. They
They're-
just don't have one now. The Arizona Cardinals really had a wonderful season
It's
last year.
got
The 13
1%
championship
remaining.
game.
Jason Lockenford says the biggest surprise of the first round was that both Alabama defensive linemen are still available.
Yeah, he could be accurate about
Stay
that.
around for his
Jaron
junior year. He's
Reed.
still on the board, still in the
And
grade room. And it's a situation here where
which
a
other
lot of
dude's
teams want him,
Robinson.
look for the player. Very
Sean
talented.
Robinson.
Oh, let's send it down to the commissioner right now as the next pick from Arizona.
Mike Jarecki thinks the Cardinals are going to pick Robert Nkemdiche here.
What do they need?
They could probably use some offensive line depth.
They have John Brown,
picked up Evan
Boys. Receivers are good. Running
It's a
back
good team. That's why they're picking
Yeah,
the slot.
Yeah, they're very good.
2016 NFL Draft. The Arizona Cardinals select Robert Nkemdiche.
Wow.
Credit to Mike Jarecki. You called that one.
Well, no, we weren't sure whether
He's like, thank God they never released my videos. That That's probably what half these guys are saying.
Arizona Cardinals. Maybe
So I saw that,
surprising
right?
people.
Ooh.
Should we get a guy with talent? But a lot of questions. First, let's go down to Susie Call.
Well, Lou, earlier, Adam detailed some of Kendici's issues off the field, and I discussed that with Cardinals.
I mean, that Kendici goes to a great spot. He has a great time to shine. And now we go to Carolina. I believe defensive end or corner.
What if they took
Now,
Jack?
certainly Kendici is a self-professed eccentric.
Wow, that ain't right.
I mean, Jack was supposed to be maybe the number one player.
Back in the draft.
A lot of guys, I've seen boards with him number one overall.
I mean, I watched him numerous times. He was the one guy in UCLA you just saw. No matter, like, it didn't matter what was going on.
He played running back for him.
He did.
It's unbelievable.
He played running back. He played linebacker. He played safety.
You believe that he is a solid player.
Yeah. I mean, that knee is scary, but you got at this point where you're drafting, it's a crapshoot anyway, really.
He's 30.
Why not?
Carolina needs a receiver.
Thank you very much, Susie.
No spot for any of these shit bags.
Would you have done it, fellas?
These receivers are left.
Carolina gets what's his face back.
Calvin Benjamin returns.
I said all along, this is the kind of place he needed to go to. He needed to go to a place where people are going to put their arms around him and love him up, as well as give him some tough love and make him understand that, hey, look, we're investing in you here. You have to change some of your decision-making.
Ross Tucker on Twitter said, "Gotta appreciate Trent Baalke's confidence in his job security. By trading up into the first round to get a guy like Garnett."
So he's decided to invest in a relationship with this kid. And if he can tap into him and make him reach his potential, it'll be a heck of a pick. If he doesn't, I'm sure they understand what will come back to
Darnell Dockett 2.0.
The exact kind of program he needed to go
They are the Cardinals.
I thought he would be the second pick in the draft.
I think,
He'll be the first defensive player.
His play style reminds me of, I mean, if he hits his ceiling, like if he lives up to expectations,
He was going to be a top 10 guy, too.
I would say
Beginning
he's Justin Smith if he hits his ceiling.
Week after week to the level of the talent that he has.
But faster.
That kind of ability.
He's a faster Justin
Smith was just spacier and just a tough guy in the middle. He's
Yeah, he was a
more,
monster.
he's more flashy than that.
All right, well, maybe not Justin Smith then. I'm running through plays at
Remember,
this
these are young people. These are not finished products. Right. It's not right to sit up here and judge all these guys.
Maybe
They can change.
Chris
If they get in the
Spielman?
right environment, they can flourish. And I really
And
believe Kendici is going to the promised land. Bruce Arians, Steve
Good
Kine,
team for him.
great leadership
If he
on
hits
this
the
football
ceiling,
team. Larry Fitzgerald,
team for him.
Chris Gamble, Tyrann Mathieu. These are great
I'll continue to
guys
say
that'll
he's an
embrace
old
him
misser,
and
though.
challenge
Did
him.
he have a gas
It's time
mask
for
on?
Kendici.
This
Oh,
gentleman,
deep dish smoke weed, fella. Hooks up window.
13, 23, and
He did.
I know.
I think was that synthetic. That stuff does stuff. Yeah.
He fell out a 4-story window.
But here's
And
Boss.
survived. That's pretty good.
And GG
Listen.
with the gas mask.
MKDG's going to a team that has a guy who's going to dribble smoking sick weed. Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones, they just signed him.
Trade.
So,
I mean, that's a great line, though. Kendici with Chandler Jones.
that's a monster one.
Clarence Campbell.
That team is looking at Super Bowl aspirations.
Yeah, they're the best team in NXT. Carolina.
Wow.
I said that last year, but I was wrong. It's Carolina. But
I like Carolina last year, and I continue to stay with
You know
that.
what? Maybe he's Malik Jackson.
They're Norman.
yeah, and part of that Super Bowl letdown, a team that loses the Super Bowl typically has a down here.
I'll go Newton over Pollard.
Incredible athletic ability.
That's how I'll make that selection.
Those numbers translated to the field.
See if Cam can,
I'm going to say Carolina.
Freshman sophomore year, he just didn't take over. JJ Watt is unblocked.
He just signed, picked up the deal for Starlo Tulele.
Starlo Tulele.
That was the guy one of the Eagles draft.
Double team, triple team. In college, that cannot be an excuse for a kid with disability. That's why instead of being a top 5 pick, here he is at pick number 29. I think Susie,
He believed he should have been a top 5 pick.
This guy has some of the character questions that are.
Looks like a
Yeah,
badass.
at the beginning of the football season, he was like the first team lineman taken.
And they had Ole Miss with 3 first-round picks.
29, 23, and 13.
You wouldn't see a better season from them.
They won the Sugar Bowl. They won the BCS Bowl.
Immaturity, and that Susie alluded to. Maybe people
around him, influencing him, and him not being able to really distance himself.
Chip Kelly in his time as head coaching the NFL.
Division,
11,
SEC West is impossible.
11 of Chip Kelly's 23 picks as a head coach have all been Pac-12.
In good programs, taking guys like this
He's
and
a
just take
he's
them
a
and
epic
elevate
stock.
their play with Tyrann Mathieu.
So
They
that
did the
can
same thing for him, and he has become a Pro Bowler, one of the best in the league. I'm hoping the same thing turns out. And they traded for Chandler.
Robert M. Kimdichie and Harry Houdini, the hell out of that double pane glass window on me. According to Mary Lou Chandler.
Booking.com takes us down to Susie. Find out what Robert did.
Well, Robert, you sit through this process. You wanted.
I mean, you polished off the whole bucket of wings.
Here's your
Charlie's
stage
world famous.
now.
Thank you very much.
Now you something new up.
Yeah.
I would see Josh and get some free hands blast through these. That's
You know what I mean? And through this process, there's been
Next time.
misconceptions of the perception of who I am.
Next edition, Price is
But,
Right.
you know, that's
By the way, Mike Ortiz, who's been dead on all night, thinks that Vernon Butler is going to go to Carolina.
They can create whatever they want.
Guy from Louisiana Tech. Can't say I've ever seen him play.
I'm happy that the
I've only
right
seen one
decision
game,
was made.
and he played bad.
I believe in destination.
I love you, buddy.
And I feel like this was supposed to be the whole time, and look where I ended up. I always had a good vibe from this team, and I've always felt comfortable there. And I'm happy to be here.
They said they loved talking to you, and I discussed with General
Question,
Manager
will
Steve
he
Kime
get priority
that
from you?
look at the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu was dismissed from LSU. They took a
And
shot
I
how
have
that worked out.
The passing, if I have any receiving options, then I'm stealing for myself. I that's Ryan or anything like that because you can't take running back because then you're just
Be
picking
a
off
great
your
player because I have vision. I know what I want to do in this world.
He'll score 9
I know
touchdowns
what
next
I'm
year,
gonna be on the field,
1,200 yards.
and I know what I'm going to be. I know my work ethic. I know my persistency, and I know my heart.
Really running behind that line.
For the game. So I can't wait to pursue my dreams and get on with the team and keep going forward.
You know, Tyrann had said that some of the toughest things were, you know, to separate yourself from friends and even family. What's your plan for that?
Yeah, I mean, I know what distraction is off the field. I know what that is, and I've separated myself from what I need to separate myself from.
Ooh, they could go with Ogba right
You just
here.
gotta look inside the mirror and kind of figure out for yourself. And
Kevin Dodd would be another one, but I'll go with Emmanuel Ogba.
I know what my future is, and I'm gonna keep striving towards that. And it's gonna be a beautiful thing.
They got your
Okie
guy
dokies.
here,
I watched him
your
terrorize those.
Can't wait. So excited.
All right, let's see what it
Mountaineers
is.
have trouble out in Tornado Alley. But when people come to Morgantown,
Our
they
GM
get a book of hoops and football.
saying that the two teams in the Super Bowl, Carolina and of course the champion Broncos, they meet again, and they were expected to make the last two, but we had a trade. So remember, in 2011, Cam Newton went 1, and Von Miller was 2. So here
Knew
they
that play
are
was coming.
in the Super Bowl. Of course, Miller got the upper hand there too. It's just kind of interesting. You look back, all of a sudden, you see this draft list from
Yeah, see, Mike Ortiz is right
4
now.
years ago, 5 years ago now, and how it
It's
all
gonna be
played
Vernon
out. They
Butler.
meet,
It's
they
gonna
met
be
again
Mike Jones,
in the
State
Super
guy.
Bowl in the Bay Area. So now, Carolina.
Pro Football
The
Focus
NFC
explains why
champion
Ezekiel
Carolina
Elliott is
Panthers,
the most
17th
complete running back
overall.
prospect since Adrian Peterson.
What do? They lost one regular
That's
season game.
Very
Peterson
Lost
at
in the
number
Super
7.
Bowl. They lost Josh Norman to
He
Washington.
was injured.
You know what Spence get drafted yet?
Let's see what the Panthers will do.
That Denver pick is actually
With
Kansas.
the 30th
It's,
pick
Seattle.
in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Vernon Butler.
Is he right again, that guy?
Yeah. It's like the 6th time, and he's like tweeted out before.
Well, that means he might have a beat on it then.
He's probably got an inside source.
Yeah,
Back room.
All those guys have one, but like they put like a gag order on like Schefter and
Yeah, well, apparently he
Rabbit
didn't
Warren.
get
Had a
it.
really good Senior Bowl.
Mike Ortiz
Carolina
is CBS Sports.
tried in getting
Early
after
guy.
you from inside out on defense. Scarlett
I ran to him at MMA about a week ago and started following him.
You like the
I
film
believe
here.
it is.
I did, John. You weren't as high as I was. I watched some of this year, and I highlighted him on
Obviously, the sources
ESPN.com.
are good enough.
I thought he was the guy who was a key cog, playing defense at Louisiana Tech, where he looked like he
Vernon
could play
Butler.
anywhere. You put him in the
Yeah,
SEC
one
with
pick to
Alabama.
go.
You put him
It's,
anywhere in the
Seahawks.
country.
It's not,
I think he was a real good player. He's not the basketball. He's very athletic.
It's,
At 5'3", 340. Forget that. He's quick.
He's ready
Got
for that.
I like the way he takes the
What do you
ball.
call
I like
this?
his versatility and his
Watch
energy
out.
level.
I thought he was a very good player for Louisiana Tech, deserving of late first, early
Right.
second round
I hope by that game against West Virginia, he had 8 tackles and a sack. I remember that bastard all over the place.
War number 38 is D lineman. That's pretty cool.
Right, the year before, 5 tackles and a sack he had against us.
He's good. I think he's going to be an interesting fit in that Panthers line. They can rotate guys in and out, so you got Starla Tuialela.
What's the delay? Yeah, there's so long there.
Probably.
Does the Heisman Trophy winner
Well, Mike Joe's guy, what, a couple years ago, he won the Eagles.
He was good, man. He thought.
Yeah. I thought he would have been a great pick for those Eagles.
Every day he was hustling.
That Ryan Messick didn't care for him
That's
as
it.
much. He wanted the Eagles to go with Luke Jokel.
Then counter it with the sound canceling frequency,
Really?
which helps
He
with
went
the camera.
number.
You don't miss a thing.
Eric Fisher went number 1.
It's called
Yeah,
Added
the
Noise.
Eagles went with Lane
Johnson.
Johnson.
Who ended up being the best of the three of them.
16
When he's mediocre, too.
This is the precision of professional
Lane
radio.
Johnson's
Or get nearly 8,300 total value on
Good.
especially
He's got
great 2016
46.
Sierra Crew Cab SLT
I hated
models.
them. I don't.
He's better than Luke Jokel.
Well, that's not. I mean, that's the same.
Someone
I'm
lets
not
you feel
I
disagreeing.
hate taking a right tackle. I know he's supposedly a left tackle, but you drafted a guy at right tackle who's played now right tackle for 4 years.
Yep.
You don't take a right tackle with the 4th overall pick.
with your name on it. Subway. Fresh.
People are like, well, he's going to play left tackle eventually. You draft a left tackle sometime down the road then.
Yeah, like
You know?
yeah, like Tyron Smith played right tackle his first year, then he moved to left tackle his second year.
Yeah.
And he's gonna
Now Lane Johnson's going to be playing right tackle for his 4th year now.
By the way, you guys know the last
I still
Louisiana
keep
Tech
looking at
player
this.
he drafted in the first round?
Ryan
Louisiana
Moats.
Tech?
Yes.
Ryan Moats. Nope. Running back. He was Louisiana Tech guy. He
He
goes
was
right
in
there.
the first round.
Oh, it's the first round.
Louisiana Tech was
He
a
was hit.
receiver.
Quarterback.
This reckoning's a long time
Getting this from ESPN stats.
This is the last. What are you asking?
The last Louisiana Tech player was he drafted.
Eagles.
Here Sunday at
That's
10.
Eagles, Louisiana.
On Showtime. Start your free trial.
That's Ryan Moats. I know that for a
He
fact.
plays
And with
quarterback.
ID, it does way more.
He started as quarterback.
It logs into things, like your bank account. See what I mean?
Right.
Louisiana. What era was this?
Your phone.
I could tell. You're going to say his name, I'm going to be really angry.
Yeah.
How about you and talk?
What era was it?
It unlocks things for
Early
you.
2000s.
It signs documents for you. Hey, you bought a
First round quarterback.
I just said
Louisiana
that.
Tech.
And it does this. Yeah, it starts your car.
Oh, he was
So now we're
Tulane.
just
And that
starting cars with our
was JP
fingerprints.
lost him.
Just
Yeah, you're thinking of a few years
Yeah,
later.
that's 7-4.
You're thinking of about 2004.
Ron King was a Tulane.
Yep.
Bring it in there,
JP.
Got you stressing
Ooh.
that. You draft night is your
I know who you're talking about.
sandals and a pair of parachute pants, and you
First
would
name,
still be the
starts
coolest
with
guy in the room. Sure goes, absolutely. That means you're sporting a
Right
broad
there.
pattern suit because you dig amphibians. Do it. And you get out
He
there
started
and show
some
every
games
last
for the
bit of
49ers.
J-Man style.
Timothy.
That is what's up.
Oh!
Speed stick, damn.
God.
3 game 6s. Come on.
49ers.
ESPN.
Timothy.
I'll tell you, Trent Edwards.
He's from Stanford.
Welcome back to the 2016 NFL Draft, presented by Courtney.
Yeah, for the Bills. And that was like, oh,
Trent
Back in the
Edwards.
draft in Chicago,
You sure about
only
that?
31 picks in the first round, and this is it. Seattle is up. Who's left now? Who could it be? We got some good players still on board. But second round, third round's going to be really strong. You'll get
You
Miles
look that up.
Jack. Only reason
Got
he's here
Mel
because
excited
of
for
the injury
nothing.
concern. Sean Robinson,
Seahawks
Jared
have made
Reed
it first
are
round
not
for
great
years.
pass rushers, but they're really good
ESPN
football
stats
players.
and
They're
info.
disruptive. And Reggie Ragland, who was the leader of
Troy
the
Edwards.
defense at Alabama.
He was a wideout.
They probably typed it wrong.
Bernie Butler is the 5th Louisiana Tech player to be taken in the first round in the common draft era since Troy Edwards in 1999. Didn't say anything about
They just hung on to get one.
Yeah,
And
just said,
so now the
didn't say anything about being a quarterback.
Well, I knew Trent Edwards was a quarterback.
It says Troy Edwards.
They had a lot of
Unless you
stuff.
read the tweet, retweet it.
They expect to be back. They need help in a couple of places.
I just
Better
got
get
some
some.
97
And then Marshawn Lynch is gone.
I just delete it.
Offensive line. They are decimated on the offensive line, and they better replenish that crowd quickly. With the 31st pick in the 2016
I don't know, Miles
NFL
Jack,
Draft,
anyway?
the Seattle
Why
Seahawks
not?
select Jermaine Ifedi, tackle, Texas A&M.
These guys waited there all night for that.
Yeah. I love all these guys go crazy. They have not a clue in the world.
Who this guy is.
Woo-hoo!
Jermaine, I came all the way to Chicago for Jermaine and Betty.
That's how an offensive lineman is supposed to look like, Mel. This kid's a 3
That's
years
what an
old.
offensive lineman's supposed to look like.
He's from Texas,
I
I
don't think he fits the offense that he's in at Texas A&M. He plays in a 2-point stance. He's
Since the
upright.
line in the last couple years.
Luke Jokel.
Cedric Ogabui.
Matthews.
They're using
3 tackles, 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row like that.
because he's
So first round's completed.
I'm going to have to say the bottom of this first round had a bunch of reaches.
So let's do this.
So you're missing Miles Jack.
I'm going to erase this for now. Because we're getting ahead of ourselves.
What's
Your
that?
color is green.
They need to get this offensive
Your
line
color
straight. This kid will help.
is orange.
4 straight years now.
Well, I'm a
First
U
round
fan.
tackle.
My color is going to be blue.
I think he's more of a guard in the
What
NFL.
circle,
I think he's moving
your
around,
favorite
finding
pick,
spots, putting good
could be
size,
value,
that
could be where they
6'5",
got it, could be
3-quarter,
scheme fit,
324
and then your
pound
biggest
frame. The strength
gadgets.
is a natural in
I
terms
don't
of
know.
I thought
Go ahead and
he
go
would
first.
the ball when he was fired up to do it. Got pissed, don't do it. That's the problem. Yeah, to do it on a consistent basis in the NFL. That's going to
Considering
change.
you drafted him and everything,
Everything
Technique. He didn't play
everything
proper
considered.
leverage. He's just raw. But he's got all this talent. If you can figure out a
That
way to
is your favorite selection.
I think
I
Joseph
don't think it's
is
tackle. I think it's guard.
what's going to make that Oakland defense go from just being a bunch of blitzers to being all around.
You got to teach them how to come off the football
Interesting.
with leverage.
And your biggest
move
reach.
footwork and move people off the football in the run game. So he's got a lot. He's got a lot.
The
to
trade
learn.
up from Josh Garnett he does not like.
that.
At
And
all.
people like this that you know scouting departments love. You don't pass up on.
I'm going to say my favorite pick of this draft in terms of value standpoint, where he's going to fit.
Market going on there.
This
Player.
lockdown.
First round's over, back to round in a minute.
I'm not going to go that route anyway. I got to say, I think the player's going to be really good in that scheme. I'm going to come here, and Gil's going to like this one, but I'm going to go with Shaq Lawson in Buffalo with a coach who really knows how to coach up those pass rushes. A reach, yeah. You could go with that Josh Garnett pick there.
Like Jimmy B.
But I'm also going to go up top into the mid-20s here and say you can get this corner in his late second to third.
Could be drafted as
Kind of a question mark up there with this gentleman, Artie Burns.
in the NFL.
So I go my favorite pick in terms of everything considered.
But I think
Shaq Lawson to Buffalo, Artie Burns to Pittsburgh is a little bit of a head start.
I got a couple of them. I like Carl Joseph, but I'm going to go right ahead,
Lifesaver.
right here.
Mm.
It should have been the number one pick in the draft, the most important position. Their quarterback gets killed down there. So I'm going to go Tunsil there. Actually,
You should know better.
I
We're
like
settlers. We settle for
29 for
but let us repay you for your
scheme,
troubles.
team, and where they got him.
For the journey home.
But it could have been a top 5 pick at one point too. So those two guys were pretty close on my list. And in terms of the reaches here, actually like Treadwell too for 23, Minnesota for scheme fit and all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go with for the reach spot. I mean, Garnett's total reach in the world. All the reaches there. But I'm going to go up here.
Download our new app now and save $5
Oh,
on the
yeah.
first one.
Oh, yeah.
To New Deal. Sorry, pal.
Put that Darren Lee there.
Could have had Miles Jack there.
And then Shaq Lawson.
Miles Jack.
And Brian Kelly, I mean, could be the best center guard in the whole league, and that's a team that could use him.
He might be the next Jeff Saturday.
But really hard to justify taking that interior lineman at 18.
Hey, if the Cowboys have been successful with it, I can't blame
You said if they've been successful, they haven't won a playoff game.
Again, drafted the Pro Bowl players with the offensive line. I think that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
So people left off of this list that are alive for tomorrow. Miles Jack, both interior linemen, defensive linemen for
Right,
Alabama.
Reed and Robinson are both on the board.
It's just really, really weird.
You got Kevin Todd of Clemson's out there still.
Quarterbacks we'll had in the first round.
Let's not forget Ryder Cook was rumored as well.
I also would go right here. There's a reach. Eli Apple. Pick behind them. They might be always compared those two right there, saying, "Wow, what the heck were we thinking in that spot?" Also, you got to look at what's it called, the receiver 15. Corey Holmes, he's the best receiver in the draft.
So he kind of, they had another problem with a very talented Baylor receiver there before as well. Can he kind of step in and fill in?
There's another one here.
And you remember, Tennessee is famous for going with a receiver that wasn't the number one receiver on the board when they went. Oh, sorry. Tennessee was good. Wow, they took
Tennessee traded up and took up their offensive line. Here's the big deal. Because they got a guy who's nasty, and a guy who's good at playing, and his quarterbacks will say so much.
And probably a big bloomer bust it's number 9. The Bears with Leonard Floyd. This guy can come in and be the next Marcus Ware, or he can come in and be
I think if Floyd doesn't go 9, he probably goes here.
Instead, they settle with a real head scratcher with Eli Apple, and they have Vernon Hargraves and Mackenzie Alexander. Alexander is still on the board.
This is a curious decision, too, of this trade and the wide receiver.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that.
I think
shenanigans going on there between those two.
another trade that I think is very peculiar is, you look up here.
SportsCenter continues
I'm
from
still
the
trying to
very
figure
best
out.
city in America. I always call it the best summertime
I know, I
city in
circled this
America.
already,
We
but
are reminded
San
that
Francisco
it is
moved back up.
decidedly not summertime.
I mean, Kansas City literally just basically said, give me anything. And they give them everything.
By the way, for the people who didn't know that, they traded 37 to get there.
He would have been there at 37. He's the third best guard in the draft.
Traded back twice to late in the second. Probably still had that guy. So, it'll be interesting tomorrow to see what happens with the 2 remaining top 5 quarterbacks, Connor Cook, Christian Hackenberg. Do they go tomorrow in the second round? Probably between the second and third. Miles Jack, how far will he slide? We'll see you tomorrow.
Anyway, that's the gear that he was rocking, and we will ask him about that a little bit later. Mark and Todd alongside, and fellas,